David Tepper will pay the remaining $150 million up front. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Imagine having all the money you need for retirement, all the income, every month, guaranteed. That's Secure Future Investor, an indexed annuity tied to growth in the stock market, but without any risk of loss ever. It's guaranteed money for life income, no matter how long you live. Call 888-509-2228. 888-509-2228. Sponsored by GP Agency, Inc., Raleigh, North Carolina. Licensed in all states. Performance may vary. Consult with your financial professional before making an investment.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Fellow Nebraskans, we need your help getting signatures to finally legalize medical marijuana. We only have 3 weeks left. Get to our state's best liquor stores, wine, beer, and spirits today and sign. Support us at nmm2024.org to make donations. Let's go.
ZZ Top, the Elevation Tour. October 1st, Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Playing all their classic hits. ZZ Top. On sale now at libertyfirstcreditunionarena.com or at the box office.
It's simple, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
No, it's not a new dance trend.
It's the free application for federal student aid.
That's money for college. Thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing.
Just 10 minutes is all it takes to apply for the financial aid you need.
With fewer questions and faster fill-out time, it's simple to see how much you're qualified for.
Go ahead, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
Get started at dothefafsa.org.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ziprecruiter.com/radio. That's ziprecruiter.com/radio. ziprecruiter.com/radio.
1620 The Zone.
Here's a 1-2. And Bregman grounds it up the middle, and that's going to get through for a base hit. Altuve gets the wave from Gary Pettis. Doyle has a good arm. His throw home is cut off. Altuve slides in, and Alex Bregman gives the Astros a 1-0 lead with an RBI single. And Diaz whacks it up the middle and into center for a base hit. Bregman around third and coming home. The throw to the plate by Doyle is not nearly in time. Bregman slides in safely. It's an RBI single for Yainer Diaz and a 2-0 Astros lead. First pitch. And Myers lines it into right field, a base hit. Alvarez can walk home. Diaz stops at second. Jake Myers an RBI single, and it's 3-0 Astros. Myers drives in his 29th. Another 2-2. And McCormick hits this into center, and it's down for a hit. Coming in, Diaz, right behind him, Myers. 2-run single, Chas McCormick. 5-0 lead for the Astros.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Hey, guys. Great to see you.
Hey, great to see all of you as well, Coach. Welcome to a Hump Day edition. We are live. We are local in the 1620 The Zone studios. And as you wake up bright and early this morning.
Apparently I missed some stuff last night.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Poor people.
Yeah, there's I think the world got turned upside down last night. I'm going to explain here. It has to do with my drive into work this morning. But welcome to everybody that is consuming the content wherever you may get 1620 The Zone, either on the radio, on the streamer, on your phone, whether it be 1620 The Zone TV.
East of 156th.
Jimmy, it's not even, I just turned 610. I was going to wow, you and I are going to spend a lot of time together because Nick is out today. So it is Jimmy and Gary's show.
Yeah, Nick's getting an ab workout. You can figure that out. Wait, if he's working out on his abs and he's not in, what could he be doing?
That's sure. Anytime you get a text like it, what do they come across? About 4:45
Something like that.
Yeah, it's never a good thing.
Hey, guys, just excited for work today. See you later.
Guys, you know what? I've been consuming the content. I've been prepping. I can't wait to get into the studio. I heard that the air conditioning is working. By the way,
the fridge is dead now down here.
Shock. It's a trade-off. I just want people to know one subtle thing here. For everybody that yesterday just absolutely crushed me. And whether I deserved it or not, it's my own personal preference. Shout out to the people that think your house being 88 degrees is okay, because you reached out to me and we've now formed a support group.
Yeah. So there are more of you. I figured.
Yes. Now, there's a lot of people that think I'm absolutely crazy and have no idea what I'm doing and are like, maybe you ought to look at your air conditioning. I just want people to know this morning, after last night's storms that rolled through Omaha, my place is 73. It is nice.
Wow.
I didn't turn on the air. I didn't ruin the environment. So y'all need to follow my lead. But for people that did not get much sleep last night, good morning. We're going to try and entertain you for the next 4 hours because wild day yesterday. The College World Series got out of here. You already know that Jimmy's Mighty Mo is already swollen, and it's getting larger.
There we go.
The pictures coming from places like Spencer, Iowa, which just devastating, complete flooded, all the flooding that's going on north of here that's now made its way into the Omaha area. If you look at like the Missouri River in downtown Omaha and surrounding areas north and south of downtown, it is expanding. So it's not good. And then yesterday we had, talk about terrible timing, rush hour. And here comes a major storm that brought hail with it, like tennis ball size hail in some parts of the city. I have a friend of mine. He was driving home from work yesterday, so he was out on the interstate, and he's going to need a new windshield. His windshield is in pieces.
That's a defeating feeling because there's nothing you can do as it's happening.
So, like the auto dealers or the auto workers. What am I looking for?
Yeah, auto detailers.
No, auto detailers, insurance agents, roofers, all that stuff. You're going to be busy. So in my neighborhood last night, we got the initial round of major hail. And then at about 11, I would say it's about 11 o'clock last night. Oh, my particular part of Omaha got crushed, where at about 11:30, I wake up and I have ping pong ball size hail. And I thought, what is worse, this or the Cubs bullpen? And I thought, you know what? The only way to cure all of this with the weather that we're having and this ping pong ball size hail that is falling at 67th and Center is to get on Texas Ags and read how everybody is doing today
Good
down
morning,
in
Tex Ag.
Bryan College Station after yesterday. So we hope that everybody is doing okay this morning. There are still some places that do not have power.
That's what the Peterman said.
Yeah,
he also told me to wear my seatbelt.
Because he doesn't have power?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, well, listen at 8:30. There's someone who disagrees with you tomorrow.
I think, though, the weather from last night has really turned my neighborhood upside down. So I did notice on the drive in today, there are a lot more cats and rabbits.
Yes, I almost ran over a bunny this morning.
Yeah, the rabbits are everywhere. Did they have to reach a quota by the end of June?
Didn't.
And so we had a very productive College World Series. It heated up, and so did the rabbit population.
That's what I'm thinking. A lot of Tennessee fan rabbits celebrating.
So there are rabbits. On my drive in this morning, there are rabbits everywhere, like small rabbits. And then the other thing that I noticed after a storm like that, and it's also in my route to work, I drive through a couple of neighborhoods where Wednesday must be trash day, where you got to get the trash cans out to the side of the street.
They're in the street.
After a night like that, where probably a lot of people didn't sleep because of the storms, we are now on the I don't give an F scale of what I wear to take my trash cans out. Not that I was looking, not that I'm interested. No offense, but the lady, I'm trying to search for the word, that was moving her trash receptacles out to the side of the road here at about 53rd Street. Yeah, I'm with you, ma'am. I mean, there's some days you just don't really care what you wear, and you don't care if you're outside or not. You just wander outside. I don't know if you have a husband, you have a family, you have a career. But you know what? There was only 2 of us driving that saw you this morning. So I guess.
And the bunnies.
Good on you. You got your trash receptacle out to the side of the road. The storm
Maybe
has
she
turned
thought it
people
was
upside
still
down.
warm like yesterday morning.
Like I drive through our neighborhood right here where the radio station is, Jimmy, and there's trees down. And
yeah. There's a dead trash can out there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I just thought the sweet people were upset to be back today. So I don't want to be here.
Ed said they shut down Epley partially late last night.
I heard that.
Like, what is late last night? How many flights are leaving? There are no red eyes, I don't think, leave Epley.
I don't think so. I think the Tennessee people have left.
All right. So it's going to be a busy day of cleaning up. So if you are with us and you hung in there and you enjoyed a little Texas Eggs message board yesterday, this is the day for you. As we welcome you in. Nick is away today, so it is Jimmy and myself. Let me give you first the lineup for the show because Jake Eisenberg, voice of the Kansas City Royals, going to join us. I was just telling Jimmy, Jake and I got to know each other when he took the Storm Chaser job. So we've known each other now for about 5-6 years.
Did a great job.
I don't know that I've ever talked to Jake on air since he's been with the Royals. We talk a lot, but I don't think I've ever talked with him on air. And we will talk to him coming up at 9. The Royals play today at the K against the Marlins, coming off a disappointing 2-1 loss last night. Royals are skittering a little bit. They've lost 12 of 16, while Cleveland is starting to pull away. The Guardians have the best record in Major League Baseball at 51-26.
That's why Nick's not here today.
He's celebrating. You're 25 games above 500.
Happer will come in sad later. Fine, I'll do a radio show.
Well, they play this weekend.
Yes. Ooh.
I wonder if we will have a little wager between the two.
We should stir the pot on that.
Well, we're going to stir the pot here in a moment, so just hold your horses.
Nick's like, don't stir anything.
Coming up, Jake will join us at 9, then Brandon Vogel stops by at 9:45. That is the lineup brought to you by the Rivalries at John Higgins Weather Guard. It is also NBA Draft Day. Wait for Woj bombs, or if you prefer shams, depending on your allegiance. But yesterday, late last night, we got a Woj bomb. Mikal Bridges had been traded from Brooklyn to the New York Knicks. The Knicks are all in, but today is Draft Day. It is a 2-day affair. Tonight, and then tomorrow in the afternoon, because there's a presidential debate at night. The NBA did not want to go head-to-head with the presidential debate, so it's a 2-day affair and a draft in which how would you assess? Because I would consider you not only a Spurs fan, but you are an NBA fan.
I'll take in the entire draft.
Okay.
So, I love the day draft tomorrow.
But in terms of excitement level towards the 2024 NBA draft would be described as...
There is none, but that's when you usually get pleasant surprise. We already had one Woj bomb. What more could we have today? There'll be something will happen today.
But that has to do with guys being drafted. Like Kevin Durant has been quiet, so he's got to create some drama. And possibly the Rockets with their picks could return some of those to the Suns and pick up Durant. Yeah. Durant's been quiet. He's been out of the news, so he's got to make some news.
Yeah.
So Kevin Durant will be discussed a lot today about possibly being a trade chip. I don't see the Suns trading him.
A&M baseball's new coach. Too soon?
Could they pay him more? Nah, he couldn't.
Nah,
they do have Texas A&M money.
Bluebell.
But there could be those are different. Like if that's happening today before free agency starts on July 1, that's great. But in terms of the overall NBA draft,
no.
How many people on one hand can you count that have actually seen the two guys that could go first overall?
Windy. I'm talking about local people. Windy.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably Padilla too.
But it is
or Jacob. But that's about it.
I would say it's a very ambiguous draft. But it does have some local interest.
Which I am interested in.
Baylor Shireman and Trey Alexander are in the NBA draft. Now, there is, I would say, a fairly good chance that Baylor Shireman at the back of the first round tonight will be drafted. I think there's also a chance that Trey Alexander sometime tomorrow afternoon will be drafted, or there's also a chance that Trey Alexander is not drafted. But a little bit later, we will talk about the prospects of Baylor Shireman, his floor and his ceiling on where he could possibly go, and being in a draft that isn't so good at the top, but is deeper from about 20 on to where the Celtics are, may actually benefit a guy like Shireman because he could end up with a good team that he could fit and he could play sooner than later. So
I'd take him on mine. I mean, I know that's not going to be a thing, but great athlete, good basketball player, winner.
Well, inserting the Spurs into this conversation.
Let's get Dougie back while we're at it.
The draft, because we've had Cunningham, we've had Wemby, so we've had some excitement. This year's draft we've seen coming for a while. It has not changed much at the top.
Yeah,
and Donovan Clingan could go number one. I would be very surprised if he did. But the two foreign players going at the top, not many people know about them, and you're not really excited about them. They're like game changers. And most times you can say, well, you don't know who's going to be the number one, so that adds intrigue. Well, I don't know these guys, okay? And they're not going to be difference makers in the NBA. My biggest excitement about the NBA draft, aside of that where Shireman will go and a Nebraska kid being drafted in the NBA draft, is that before the night is over, before the weekend is over, we're going to have a Nikola Jokic in the NBA. We're going to have a Nikola Jovic in the NBA, and we're going to have a Nikola Topic in the NBA.
Is Vukovic still in? I think get them all together.
They should all be on the Nuggets.
Yes,
that would drive Jason crazy doing the play-by-play.
It's like we've all done high school games. We're like the entire starting lineup's related.
Well, because he's become one word guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't say. Jokic gets it at the free throw line, spins and hits an elbow jumper. It is Nikola.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It's not Hanslick. It's Bill.
Bob Davis did that at the end of his career with KU. It was
That's right, Gary.
It was Jock and Rafe and Kirk.
Couldn't even pronounce Heald.
Also, it's that time of the year. So today is the 26th of June. How many days away?
66, I believe.
66 days before Nebraska and UTEP play, and just a terrible atmosphere of Memorial Stadium, which should even be considered on any list. I kid because I care, and I'm being very sarcastic.
Yeah, remember who's saying this.
But we're a little bit premature on the off-season benchmarks of topics on the topic alert for things to talk about in the offseason surrounding Nebraska football. Barry Trammell, who
our friend,
has gone through some weird, he left the Daily Oklahoman, went to work for a company that is now a big story because it appears to be a fraud that had some great writers for it. He finally landed at the Tulsa World.
They're lucky to have him.
But about July 1, he will pen a column about Nebraska and Oklahoma should be in the same conference, and it's such a shame that Nebraska left the Big 12. Well, will he write the same column in the Tulsa World? Because now Oklahoma next week is headed to the SEC. But usually when you get Barry's column, that's followed by list season. Phil Steele's physical copy of the Bible shows up. But we also, and this is a little bit premature because this does not come until about a week out from media days, something about Memorial Stadium comes up. The atmosphere, the way the team that lives in Memorial Stadium plays, the Nebraska fans are too nice. And yesterday with EA Sports release of the top 25 most difficult places to play, Nebraska was not on it. There was outrage by some. There was reality by others that the team that has played in Memorial Stadium has not been very good playing in that stadium for a while. Not very good overall, but not very good when they play at home.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a sign that Nebraska football is back, they start winning home football games. Plus, you automatically disqualify yourself from any list like this. And the list is a little bit, I got some questions. If you lose to Georgia Southern and Northern Illinois on your home field, okay, you're automatically disqualified. But it leads to a conversation that we all have that was very prevalent yesterday about Memorial Stadium, why Nebraska isn't better, Memorial Stadium, atmosphere, all of that kind of stuff. So I've got thoughts. But I also have thoughts on the last 72 hours if you happen to be a Texas A&M baseball fan. So Jim Schlossnagle is now the head coach on the 40 acres. He has left Texas A&M to go to Texas, and he is going to be paid a lot of money.
No state income tax.
There is this story, as it develops, will get crazier. So when this came up the other day, when some are saying Texas, which has this tendency to sabotage things on their way out of a conference.
Don't we all know?
We know about the Big 12. So they are technically still part of the Big 12.
For a week.
And they have sabotaged their rival by taking their baseball coach. But there is, as Kendall Rogers reported last night, and I was reading this thread on Texas Eggs, people are a little intense. Okay? People, it's a whole different world with Texas A&M.
They don't like losing, but when they lose to TU,
well, you lose. So it's Nick and I were talking about this last week with Texas A&M here, and I got to spend more time around people that cover Texas A&M, and it's different. Mm-hmm. It's some will say it's a cult. I just say it's a different way of life at Texas A&M compared to really any other athletic program with their fan base and just how they operate.
And you've been there many times, so you've seen it firsthand.
And it's different. It's completely different from anywhere else. Mm-hmm. That's why when I saw Trev in his element last week, in his element of being the athletic director at Texas A&M, and Texas A&M people and some Nebraska people around him, thought, wow, this is such a weird fit. But when you're Texas A&M and you're in a state where you have a lot of money, your money has not equaled the return on investment. Texas A&M's got a gob full of money. But how many championships have they won? But they're in a state where they went to the SEC, Texas destroyed the Big 12 and stayed, and you had something exclusive because you had the SEC. And now next week, your chief rival is going to join your conference, and they just let it be known yesterday that you are the little bro.
Yep. You're back to second fiddle in the state.
That stings because what you had maybe a little bit above Texas is not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Because Texas and all their money and all of their tradition and a better return on investment with the money they spend, they're now in the same conference. So you have that happen. But let's look at the last 72 hours for Texas A&M baseball. They are 7 outs away from winning a national championship in baseball. A sport that is number 2 on that campus. It's a culture. They love baseball. They pack the ballpark. They have a great tradition, but they've never been able to break through. They are 7 outs away from winning a national championship. And look what happens. 2-run homer. Over. Got to play the championship game. Then you lose on Monday night in the championship game by 1 run. Mm-hmm. Earlier in the day, Texas, which couldn't wait a day, dropped the news that had been official internally for a while that David Pierce, their baseball coach, had been fired, gone.
And if you know, this was all by design.
Well, now there's another leg to this. So Kendall Rogers reported late last night that the Texas players have known that it was going to be Jim Schlossnagle for a while. And then he went a step further. And this is where loyalty other things will come into play in this discussion about how this was handled in coaches and this is my last job. All of that jargon that has been dropped by Jim Schlossnagle over the last 72 hours is that this deal was done before the end of the regular season.
Damn. It's a long time ago.
So Texas,
about 2 months ago,
Texas got rid of their baseball coach with the athletic director that used to be the athletic director for Jim Schlossnagle at TCU, hired Schlossnagle or had an agreement before the regular season was over. Then, if you recall, what school was playing in the College Station Regional? Texas. Texas and Texas A&M played a game in that regional. Texas A&M beat Texas. The guy in the Texas A&M dugout, according to Kendall, had already agreed to become the head coach at Texas. They go on, they win their super. Of course, they come here and they end up one run short.
Would have been a worthy champion
of forcing extra innings and winning a national title. So then you go to yesterday. Well, and you had Monday night, the late night press conference after the season is over for Texas A&M. And the question that had to be asked, because it was the elephant in the room all day on Monday around the College World Series, is Schlossnagle's name is attached to this. So they lose. He's asked about it. You saw his response. Now, he owes that reporter an apology, and not privately, where the reporter goes on Twitter and says, just want everybody to know that Coach Schlossnagle reached out to me and he told me what was going through his mind, yada, yada, yada. If you need to apologize to that reporter, but you need to do it publicly. And maybe that's on a side that you create on your own when you're introduced as the new coach at Texas. But you can't do that privately. That's something you have to do publicly. Schlossnagle may not care. I don't know. If you look at how all of this was handled, which is, we have pettiness in college athletics.
This is up there.
And around here, we don't see it as much. But down there, and especially now in that conference, it is an everyday thing where you're turning in your rival to the league office because they're cheating. Or you're pulling this stuff where you're hiring from one staff. Or you're running a okey-doke to get the guy you want from your chief rival. And now you're going to be playing in the same conference. And I hope that the SEC puts together a Texas at Texas A&M series in College Station next spring.
They will.
I will go to that. I will drive to College Station to watch Texas play at Texas A&M because they will need extra security. And I'm sure the two yahoos that got booted from the ballpark that were Texas A&M fans might even show up.
They'll be celebrated.
They might even show up to welcome Jim Schlossnagle in. But this is a wild backstory.
Yeah.
That it was completed before the end of the regular season. Texas players already knew.
And they kept it under wraps. That's impressive.
Texas A&M players probably didn't want to believe it. But now they found out about it on social media. And that's how it all went down. So that's the 72 hours of Texas A&M. Now, here is the other part that has I guess you would, for better terms, say it has a local connection. If you have read Texas Ags, first of all, it was like a flashback, Jimmy, to the days of Nebraska departing the Big 12 because Chip Brown got involved. Chip Brown was the first to report that Schlossnagle was officially done going to Texas. And you know what kind of emotions Chip Brown from Horns 24/7.
Remember 2010? Yeah. The Pac 16.
Yes. But there, Chip Brown's kind of polarizing up here. So he was the first to report that. So we get that, and then that's a hearken to the past. And then we go to the Texas Eggs message board. If you've not been there and you have a subscription,
take the day off.
It is an absolute dumpster fire where in the span of like 2 or 3 threads, they went from Schlossnagle is enemy number 1 to Trev's got to go. Now, I said this the other day when this came down.
They already want Chris Beard for basketball. They want to strike back.
Well, good. Hey, good point. Isn't that interesting though? That Chris Beard was at Texas Tech Texas hired him. Now, Baird said that Texas was his dream job. Okay. Schlossnagle, I don't know if he has a dream job, but as much as we hate him, Texas is a destination job for some. He's got more money than God. Okay, it's the New York Yankees of college athletics.
Just ask him; they'll tell you.
You get the good and the bad with working at a place like Texas. You get a lot of money. You have a brand,
great facilities,
but you also are under pressure that if you don't win, they're escorting you out of town and they're telling you to never come back to 6th Street. So they've gone from Schloss's enemy number one to Trev's got to go. And I'm thinking, man, Trev just bought his house in College Station. They already want him out of there. What I know about this situation from people that cover Texas A&M that were talking like all week is this has kind of been brewing. And I don't know enough about the situation down there to give like all these details. I'm just going off some people that I've known for a while that cover Texas A&M athletics that have, were here for 2 weeks.
It's payback for Emery Ballard. I know. I reached there. I've aged a lot of people with that.
Your recall is pretty good. When they were trying to secure money for what they're doing to their baseball stadium, it was a little bit choppy at the beginning. And then they smoothed it out, but it might have hurt some feelings. Oh, wow. And this started before Trev got the job. And then Trev moved some people around and got rid of some people that Schlossnagle knew, and that may have gotten them off on the wrong foot. May have also been when Texas comes calling and you're a single guy who you left Fort Worth because your wife got custody of the kids and you went to College Station and you're a single guy living in College Station and College Station is boring away from the ballpark and Austin is more Austin. Austin greater than College Station.
Not gonna lie.
I mean, we talk about players and their lifestyle and man, hey, what can you do in this town?
Besides being
these are grown adults. They do like to go out. They do like to have a life that is not around their sport.
There are things to be done.
I think that's a consideration. But people want Trev out. They're like, this is your fault. How could you lose on your watch your head baseball coach, the number 2 sport on our campus, to a chief rival? It is
the rival of all rivals.
I am not kidding. If you want to be entertained, Jimmy can tell you this because he was in the Big 12 and he has followed this. Go to Texas Ags. It is a friggin' dumpster.
Pour a big cup
right
of
now.
coffee and just sit back and read.
And then if you have access and you can post on there, I think Will Bolt would be a great hire. And then watch how people come at you. I have grabbed the popcorn and I am watching this. But there's a lot to what happened yesterday that is, I think, a true reflection of where we are in college athletics.
I can't read this during the show. I'll never get anything done.
There's because loyalty, like we'll never again, and I'm glad that this has changed. We don't bring up anymore like player loyalty, right?
No.
Coaches don't have, and I don't want to say they don't have loyalty.
They have less.
But I think,
and that's okay.
I think I have a better understanding of why people do things they do in terms of changing jobs. And I've stopped using the word loyalty because you may be loyal to your employer, but are they always loyal to you? And sometimes it's okay to be selfish. And whether you're a player and coach in athletics, but I'm glad that we've gotten past this cries of, oh my gosh, I can't believe that player is not loyal. Well, the coaches aren't loyal. But there's the other thing I really wish around here we had a rivalry that was on the level of pure pettiness and hatred of Texas A&M, Texas. Maybe Iowa, Nebraska comes in that neighborhood, but nowhere near the top of this.
Nebraska, Texas could have been great if they stayed in the same league together. It's a great rivalry.
But another aspect of there's some anger is one coach is leaving. Remember, he was 7 outs from winning a national championship. And regardless, if they won or lost, he was leaving. So it wasn't like if they won and he had Powerade poured on him, he was going to stick around. He was already out the door. It just would have been, I don't know, even more awkward.
Yeah.
Or would it made sense?
They would have said, at least we got a championship out of it.
But the anger of leaving, a coach leaving your school to go to your chief rival. I think rivalries today, because of how college athletics has changed with realignment and geography, I think rivalries only matter to fans.
Yeah.
I don't think coaches and players are into rivalries as much as they used to. I think the one thing through all of the ups and downs and the changes in college athletics that has stayed around from the fan perspective is rivalries. The only thing keeps rivalries going are fans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that coaches and players today, they acknowledge them. Hey, it's a big deal if we beat Iowa. Or if you're Iowa and you beat Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, your chief rivals. Coaches are like, we know those games are important, but why are they important? Because the fans make them important. I think fans are the rivalries of college athletics, and players and coaches care less about them today than they did in the past. And any outrage about, oh my God, he left to go to our chief rival. No. He left for what he saw was a better job. I'm not saying that's right, and he could have handled it much differently on the way out the door. But the day of rivalries in college athletics only exists from me, you. Those of us that pay to go, that support teams, that's where rivalries exist.
Yeah. And look how many rivalries we've lost to watch in person or on TV.
Yeah.
So we keep it through nostalgia in outlets like this.
So
that's what makes this so great, though, because we actually have pettiness to enjoy, and it doesn't involve your team unless you're involved. Drama is always great when it involves someone else. And don't say it. Most people are like, no, I don't like drama. If it's happening to someone else, grab your popcorn, sit back and enjoy.
So we'll get to see Trev in action because they have a huge war chest of money. They have elite status in college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
They have tradition.
It's a great place.
They just played for a national title. They have a passionate fan base that, even though they hate the outgoing coach now, they hate their athletic director, at least for now, until he makes a hire. If that makes you go, whoa, the new coach to Texas A&M will be embraced because he wants to be there. Because he'll say all the right things of, I left Clemson, South Carolina. Eric Bakich, I think, would be a great hire because he's got a little D-bag in him. And
you need a little bit of that.
If you're going against Texas and you're going against the rest of the SEC, you need a douche canoer that's really good at their job.
Jackie Sherrill was great in the 80s for football.
Don't overlook that. I think that's important. You got to have somebody that has an edge.
Now, don't castrate a cow like Jackie did, but still.
We do not recommend that. Thank you.
Like, why?
That you would castrate a cow?
Yeah, to motivate. Any given Sunday, he didn't do that. He didn't need a cow. Anyway. But yes, you do need somebody that gives 0 Fs and comes in there.
So a guy that is clearly not a baseball guy, but has done for the most part a good job in hiring. Like the AD coach relationship and the hiring of new coaches under your watch, I think has been pretty successful. That's one area where Trev does well, but he's not a baseball guy, but he has an enormous amount of money to go get a baseball coach and to sell Texas A&M with their elite status. Where will he go? I got this a lot last night, and I don't know if this was sarcasm or real questions. He not looking back to Lincoln. If I'm Will Bolt, been there, done that. Okay, I got run out of town. I mean, Rob Childress got run out of town. The only connection I have to Texas A&M is I used to be there, and my former boss is now there. Will would not be a candidate, and you would be throwing Will to the wolves at Texas A&M.
Yeah,
and considering they just played for the national championship game, that would not go over very well. So you don't have to worry about that. And I think even Will would be like, nope, been there, done that. That is not for me because it's not for everybody. That's why Trev Alberts is the athletic director at Texas A&M. It's such an odd fit.
Yeah.
It is an odd fit of his background, his personality, and at Texas A&M. Odd fit.
That's why when it happened, people thought, is this for real?
Well, you have to.
Until you started digging.
For people that have been there and have seen it, it's different. I'm not doing a good job of explaining it. I apologize. There's just, it's not like a normal athletic department.
Even you talking to me as someone who grew up down there, I'm like, no, it is different. Even down there, it's different.
I know that there is more activity where boosters have more of a say, and there are times that they run the place, but it just, you have a message board. Texas Ags is like a huge mover and shaker in the athletic department. A message board community.
What? My friend David, who was on the show here, he left a very good TV career in Houston to help go run Texags. That's how big it is.
Oh, what a day yesterday in college athletics. There is more on this, whether it involved Trev Alberts or making a move like this and what Texas has and all the money that they have. We'll get into. You can have all the money in the world for a particular job, but do you use it the right way?
Yeah.
I mean, this is such a strange. I've heard. That's why I love the guys that cover the College World Series, because it's a smaller group of people that are passionate about college baseball that cover it, whether it be Baseball America, D1 Baseball, or other outlets. And it's a little smaller compared to, the media we run into that cover college football and college basketball. That you get more of the stories. There, how Paul Maneri was hired at South Carolina this year? So Paul Maneri, who has been highly successful in the college game.
Very good coach. Great coach.
What he did at LSU. He was back here last year kind of as an ambassador. He was here to watch LSU. He was retired, but he was still around the program, and he's held in high regard. Do you know how he ended up back in college baseball in Columbia, South Carolina?
I do not. Actually did wonder.
So him and Ray Tanner, who is the great baseball coach at South Carolina, and then made the transition to being an athletic director. Him and Maneri are best of friends. He called Paul Maneri to ask him about some candidates when they were making a move on Mark Kingston, who is now the Creighton baseball coach. When they were making a move, he called Paul Maneri. And it's kind of like when Iowa State called Michigan to pick Johnny Orr's brain about Bill Frieder. And they're talking, and back then, Johnny was like, how much does this job pay? And then the next thing you know, Johnny Orr leaves Michigan, goes to Iowa State. So Tanner was talking to Maneri, and he was trying to pick his brain about some up-and-coming coaches that would be great fits at South Carolina and would be great fits in the SEC. And the longer they talked, and this was told to me by someone from D1 Baseball, they said that Tanner paused in the middle of the conversation, and he said, Paul, you sound like you're interested.
Why don't you just do
it? And he said, I am interested in this job. And the next thing you know, out of the blue, South Carolina hires Paul Maneri.
Well, I'll screw the list. Let's talk. Why don't you come on out? That's awesome. I love that.
What an interesting sport. And yesterday yesterday became a day with college baseball that it wasn't like in its own little niche of right here. It's the College World Series. The TV ratings were fantastic. We talk about it for a couple of days. We see Tony Vitello living his best life yesterday at the parade in Knoxville.
They were quick with that, too.
What happened yesterday in college baseball, and also, we're at a light time for sports, took college baseball to a different level where I bet if you turned on the talking head shows today, there would at least be a brief mention about what happened. And so people are going to talk college baseball today, but I think it's more than just one baseball coach going to another. and we'll get into that as we roll till 10.
Love it.
You're always welcome to join the conversation. It's just Jimmy and I today. Nick is out under the weather. You can discuss your thoughts. And Trev being at Texas A&M. Weird. 402-951-1620. That is the 1620 The Zone hotline, powered by 42 Degrees The Source, by your mom's house. You can also email yours truly into the Equitable Bank inbox, where Doug and the fantastic crew there, they are grinding today on this Wednesday, where they take banking personally, professionally, and to you. Gary at 1620thezone.com, and also on the J-Check Construction Zone Twitter feed at Sharp and Handley on Twitter. Always give us a follow there and interact. Jimmy's running that ship today.
Shout out Ellie, our friend. Your friend.
Ellie.
Ellie follows us now.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Ellie, fan of the show.
And goes to a school where they won a national championship.
National
the other
champion,
night.
Ellie.
Or at Gary Sharp 1620. Off and running. A little bit later, we'll talk some Royals baseball. Royals and the Marlins this afternoon over on 1180, and Jake Eisenberg will have the call. He's going to, on his way to the ballpark, stop by, not physically, but via the phone at 9. And then Brandon Vogel is in as well, as Nebraska's quarterback commit had some interesting things to say earlier this week. TJ Lateef, in or out? We're back after this at 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Host is roasting every morning. Host is roasting every day.
How does Host Coffee provide the best coffee for your workplace? By finding the richest and most robust coffee beans from all around the world and bringing them to our Nebraska roastery, where your coffee is roasted fresh and delivered straight to you.
Proudly serving Nebraska since 1972. Host Coffee is always roasting something good for you.
Sundays with the Storm Chasers are packed with fun for the entire family. Every Sunday features free entertainment for kids 12 and under. Brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Want to get a free Sunday perm ticket? Bring 3 cans of non-perishable food items to the Werner Park box office. Wrap up the day with Kids Run the Bases, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. Visit OmahaStormChasers.com.
Omaha Storm Chasers family. Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm with family.
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-893-2288, 800-893-2288, 800-893-2288.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. While discounts apply to our regular prices, select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Here's another, and it's probably a good thing for Texas A&M to search for a baseball coach, and they have a whole new slate. Jim Schlossnagel's got a pretty good staff. He's got a good young pitching coach, hitting coach. His entire staff is moving to Texas.
Well, they just got an upgrade.
So this popped up in my head. I was thinking about, it's rare. There's a list out there of guys that have played for like the Red Sox and the Yankees. Like Johnny Damon is one of the poster childs of that.
Roger Clemens.
But it wasn't, but you remember like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going to the rival. If you're a Red Sox, how can you go be a Yankee and vice versa? I mean, you're a traitor now. Jim Schlossnagel will be on a list of rare coaches that have coached at both Texas A&M and Texas. And these two schools hate each other. They're separated by about 90 minutes. They hate each other. Look at how much they fought not to play each other. And now they're in the same conference and they're going to have to play each other. I may be way out here on thinking about rivalries when it comes to coaches. And I said in the first segment, I think rivalries in college athletics nowadays only exist amongst us fans. Coaches and players, they acknowledge them. We make them important, so they reciprocate. But the rivalries are more passionate with us fans than, coach, I hate Iowa, or I hate Nebraska, I hate Creighton. But see if I'm on the right path here, Jimmy. And I'm going to start with Kansas football. He wasn't very good at Kansas State, and he replaced a legend, and he was replaced by that same legend. But
and we all love him.
Kansas football, and Prince was, who was, by the way, Ron Prince, born in Omaha.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You
will run across like just bizarro athletes or coaches that were born in Omaha that maybe lived here for a couple of days. Like Wade Boggs was born in Omaha. Rex Walters was born in Omaha. So technically the first round Nebraska natives in the NBA, Rex Walters is on that list.
That's why Nick went to KU for a little bit, followed his footsteps.
But was Ron Prince, and again, Ron Prince wasn't great, so I might be reaching here, but I'm going to try and lay this out.
He deserved at least 10 more years.
Did Ron Prince get fired because of Mark Mangino?
Yeah, because they'd blown him out in 08, and it was building, but at the end of the day, he was 0-3 against KU, and they don't have much. That was the one thing they had down there, so K-State was acting quickly, and I remember the 08 game, apparently Snyder was up there drawing stuff on a napkin. Now, I like to think it was stick figures, but I think he was making, from what I heard, people were up there, he was taking notes.
Okay,
so you knew something was going to happen.
So Prince was at K-State 06, 07, 08.
He did beat Texas, though. They'll tell you.
He did.
Twice.
But in his last 2 years, Kansas football, up until Leipold showed up, those were two of their best years.
Yeah.
They were 12-1 in that great 07 season. And then even in the following year, Mangino's next to last year, they were 8-5. So they were pretty good. I mean, that might be a reach, but I'm trying to, in my head, think about how we look at rivalries, because Michigan-Ohio State is, in football, maybe the greatest rivalry in college athletics going. And I say this because if you're the head coach of either Ohio State or Michigan, John Cooper on line one, Ryan Day is in the green room, if you don't beat the other school and you start a trend of where you're not beating them, even if you are 56-8, you're on the hot seat.
Yep.
Ryan Day could lose in the first round of the playoffs, but if he beat Michigan, I think he's okay.
Yeah.
He loses to Michigan again, he's in trouble. That's a sign of a rivalry.
Look at John Cooper's record.
Earl Bruce, Ohio State coaches that couldn't beat Michigan. While Michigan was either ascending or was decent, but you couldn't beat them, thus your boss could use that as a, well, you know what? Tip your cap. Michigan fired our football coach.
85, 86, and then in 87, they fire him right before the Michigan game, and they win that game and carry him off the field.
So, again, I may be on a reach here of tying in Texas A&M and Texas, but think about OU football. You know, Nebraska and Oklahoma football were both going at the same time.
Will always be linked.
But if Oklahoma football had not gotten in trouble and Switzer was out and Gary Gibbs came in, and you know the last part of the Big Eight with Oklahoma was not good.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not competitive games.
Howard Schnellenberger was the Oklahoma coach the last year. That's all you need to know.
But if Oklahoma football was still doing Oklahoma football and Osborne was struggling, could it have been enough that Barry Switzer got Tom Osborne fired?
In this day and age, yes.
Okay, so if you look at like Texas and Oklahoma football, Bob Stoops
almost got Mac Brown fired.
Well, did he get Mac Brown fired?
Finished him off in 11 with that big blowout?
Because I think Mac Brown, because of what he started to do at Texas, got A&M to fire R.C. Slocum and Mike Sherman because they couldn't beat Texas, and Texas football was taken off. And then, along with Bob Stoops, remember Kevin Sumlin at the beginning of his career at Texas A&M was having success. Mac Brown was starting to post-championship.
A&M went to the SEC with Johnny Manziel, and they were taking off.
Now, you hired Jimbo Fisher in 2017. Texas and let's see, the COVID year was the best year that Texas A&M had under Jimbo because they finished, I think, 6th in the country.
Yeah.
But Tom Herman was struggling. Now, Sark was available, but could you make a case that because Texas A&M was doing well, you could say, we can fire our coach?
Yep.
And then on the other part of it is, did Steve Sarkisian force A&M to fire Jimbo Fisher?
And if A&M beats them this year, who knows who could be available, but Texas will tell you, and I'm not saying this to make a smart-ass comment, but they will tell you they can get anybody because they were convinced twice in the past 15 years or so that they were going to buy Saban away from Alabama, and then it never happened. And it became a joke. Oh, you're going to get Saban. But that's the mentality. And I get that. They believe, no, make them an offer you can't refuse. So think of certain coaches who might be retired and say they're never coaching again. And if Sark loses to A&M and they're in the SEC, that's how it works.
Now, I know that if you're like Texas and you're hearing this, or Texas A&M, you don't want to believe that that's true. But think about it. If you want a true rivalry, if their coach could get your coach fired because you can't beat your rival and they're ascending and you are treading water, you don't use that as an example. You know, the famous quote from what's his name around here about judging where Iowa was. Well, if you look at that as a big rivalry and what they're doing over there is ascending and you're treading water and you can't beat them,
that's when you know that
use that as one of the reasons why you would move on from your coach. Boom, we have a rivalry. And
great point.
You know, David Pierce, who's had some success at Texas, but their standard is through the roof when it comes to baseball. I'm sure it did not help that the guy that's down in College Station is doing good things, and you are not.
Put it to you this way. I realized this as you were talking last segment. Texas does what they did on purpose to leak that Monday because they know they're going to get the coach. But the one thing that they want more than anything, they don't want the Aggies to win a national championship in anything. And if it can help derail that in any way, Texas won twice on Monday. Oh, they hate that at A&M. Can't wait. Glad they're back together.
Oh, Texas, at some point, somebody's going to stand up to them. And who knows if it'll be in the SEC. I think they're positioned pretty well, especially in football. But yeah, it was intentional.
Everything calculated.
They got their guy before the regular season was over, and they waited for the day of one of the best days in the history of Texas A&M baseball to announce that.
Yeah.
They knew exactly what they were doing. Good on that rivalry.
They were close on Sunday. Let's finish them off.
That is pettiness 101. Well, I was, as this was all unfolding last night, I was thinking about that. Because Michigan, Ohio State firing each other's football coach is real. Like, look at, if Harbaugh had not turned it around against Ohio State, and he was still winning 9 games and still really successful, couldn't you have made a case for, I mean, really,
it's
Jim, the only game that matters is the game at the end of the regular season. You're not winning that game.
And you know this.
And he goes, yeah, but I got 57 wins. Yeah, but you know what? There's 4 wins that you could have had that you don't have.
You could have had 61. It's the truth. It even goes back why Earl Bruce, Woody Hayes is firing, and then Earl Bruce comes in from Iowa State. They were still reluctant. Okay, are we going to like this? He beats Michigan with Art Schleister his first year in 79. And at that point, you're in. John Cooper, first year against Michigan at the Horseshoe, beats them. All right, you're in, which was ironic because that's what undid both of them. Jim Tressel's success helped force Lloyd Carr's retirement in 2007. That's a rivalry. It's a truth. And that's how you can categorize this. That's true.
All right. 7:06. Jimmy's got an update coming up in a little bit. A little bit later, we'll talk some baseball. Jake Eisenberg will join us. Royals and the Marlins play this afternoon down at the K. Last night, the Marlins won by a score of 2-1. So Jake will stop in at 9. Brandon Vogel is in at 9:45. He loves rivalry talk. Can I also make this a quick connection here? Because now my brain is just, if you can't beat them, hire them.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So
we see it many times, and not even just that, but in professional sports too.
The guy in Lincoln can't beat the guy in Iowa City, so you fire the guy in Lincoln and hire the guy in Iowa City.
That's when you know that rivalry is, it's on. Okay.
Oh, but loyalty. Loyalty doesn't exist. And when somebody says, this is my last job, I want to believe them still. But
how many times is it?
But I get it. I get it nowadays. Because all of us that are not in the public world of coaching or athletes, wouldn't we probably do the same thing?
Absolutely. When I was younger, no, but now, absolutely. I wouldn't think twice.
All right. Jim's got an update coming up in a bit. More on this. Plus, we'll do floor ceiling for Baylor Shireman, who I think we'll hear his name today when the NBA draft kicks up tonight, and you'll get to hear all about Bronny. All about Bronny. Who will tell the truth about Bronny James on ESPN tonight?
Nobody. Why can't there be an NBA TV simulcast like the NFL Network does with ESPN? Wait, I don't have NBA TV, but you know what I mean.
Also, Memorial Stadium. Back in the news.
Not intimidating?
Well, you got to win first.
Yes.
Yeah. Winning matters. Winning brings so much. But it brings the discussion back around when EA Sports touches the third rail with some Nebraska fans. All of that and much more to come until 10. Again, an update with Jimmy's coming up next on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after the host of 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. It's going to be a little bit of a hectic morning on the roads today. The severe weather last night still has a lot of the city without power, including multiple intersections and traffic lights. It would be wise to give yourself a little bit of extra time this morning in your commute. Crash reported at 84th and Giles in that intersection, and eastbound L Street at 108th. One of the lanes is blocked with a disabled vehicle right now. Might run into some delays in those areas. Just stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krumser. This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Modern Real Estate.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Summer's here, and you're at work. Make work a lot tastier with delicious summer savings from Easy Cater, the #1 site for workplace catering with over 100,000 restaurants to choose from. Save up to $40 when you order from participating restaurants. These scrumptious discounts are available exclusively on easycater.com. So order some food for work and make both your team and your food budget happy. Order now at easycater.com. Orders must be placed and received between June 24th and July 5th. Restrictions apply. See all for details.
Bellino Fireworks, a Metro tradition for more than 35 years. Bellino Fireworks is the home of the original buy one, get 3 free sales special. Bellino Fireworks offers better quality products at a better price than anyone in the Midwest. More than 50 locations in the Omaha Council Bluffs area. There's no need to go anywhere else. Look for their signature inflatables or Bellino flags. Bellino Fireworks, the original buy one, get 3 free sales special. Visit BellinoFireworks.com for a full list of locations.
If baseball and ice cream go together like fireworks in the 4th of July, I mean, on any given night during the summer, you're bound to run into a team of little leaguers getting ice cream after their game, win or lose. So before you head home after the game, head over to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream and pick up your flavor. They serve more than 3,000 of them. Keep track of the daily specials on social media. Celebrating more than 35 years, Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Benson, Old Market, and at tedandwallys.com.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
I plan to rearrange my closet, but I stopped after picking the clothes up off the floor.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's award-winning language learning app will help you start speaking another language. Start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
Comment tu t'appelles? Comment tu t'appelles? Vous êtes d'où?
Vous êtes d'où?
Babbel's bite-sized lessons make it easy to learn words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel est amusant et facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue. Et cela ne prend que 15 minutes par jour.
when you want to really learn another language, it starts with Babbel. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
The Storm Chasers win last night. Second half of the season opens, and they snap a 4-game losing streak by winning at Columbus 6-1 last night. Starting pitcher Anthony Veneziano made his sixth start of the season through 5 scoreless innings, a season high, including a pair of 1-2-3 innings. The lefty held Columbus to a hit while striking out 4 in a season high 80 pitches. The Storm Chasers win their 50th game of the season. They continue the series against the Clippers this evening. 6:05, right-hand pitcher Andrew Hoffman slated to start for Omaha. By the way, if you didn't know, Tennessee won the Rocco Shot Contest, edging out Texas A&M just like on the field. Big Orange bought 38,795 shots, and the Aggies lost their baseball coach to Texas. The Brooklyn Nets complete a massive overhaul of the franchise's roster, trading their best player, Mikal Bridges. Oh, it's going to be a long move for him to the New York Knicks. And just take a taxi. Landing a deal with the Rockets to return the franchise's first-round picks lost in the James Harden trade. After teetering in the post-Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving windows between pursuing the playoffs and the draft lottery, the Nets declared a direction. Good for them, and suddenly have 16 first-round picks available. 2031, including 4 selections in the starry 2025 NBA draft. I don't think it's being sponsored by the terrible soda, but I'm just thinking that's just a cute word they used. Apparently, there's dudes next year. NBA draft tonight. Just where will Baylor Shireman and Trey Alexander land? We'll find out. Be on TV just round 1 because round 2 is tomorrow afternoon. I'll enjoy watching that while eating my early dinner with my fellow senior citizens. Jim Schlossnagle, who just led A&M to its first Men's College World Series Championship Series, is leaving to become the next baseball coach at Texas. He agrees to a deal with the Longhorns just one day after they lose to Tennessee and ending the Aggie season just 1 win shy of the first national championship. They were 7 outs away. The loss will be compounded by Schloss's defection to the Aggies' bitter rival as they reunite in the Southeastern Conference, taking all his coaches with him, too. Schloss went 135 at 62 in his 3 seasons in College Station, including 2 College World Series visits and a 53-15 record this season, which tied for the second most wins in program history. Other baseball, this is the professional variety. Garrett Cole's first start of the season went about as well as he and the Yankees could have hoped for last week. His second outing last night against the Mets didn't. He was blasted over 4 innings, yielding 6 runs on 7 hits in the Yankees' 9-7 loss at Citi Field. He gave up 4 home runs, walked 4, and didn't record a strikeout. Good. It was the second time Cole didn't register. I'm still bitter. Actually, I'm bitter A.J. Hinch didn't put him in that Game 7, so I actually don't blame him. Cole didn't register a strikeout in his career, and the second time he allowed at least 4 home runs. Shout out Mr. and Mrs. Met. Finally, the Jacksonville City Council voted 14... Okay, yesterday we talked about one of the 1995 expansion team. Here's the other one. The Jacksonville City Council voted 14-1 last night. Wonder who the one was. They probably hate sports. To approve an agreement between the Jaguars and the city, a $1.4 billion renovation of what was once the Gator Bowl. That brings the Jaguars one step closer, Lincoln Park reference, closer to securing the long-term stability of the franchise. With the final hurdle, getting the agreement approved by 24 of the 32 NFL owners at the league's meetings in October in Atlanta. If that happens, construction is scheduled to begin after the team's 2025 season concludes and will finish in time for the 28th season. If you've seen some of the renderings, it's supposed to have like a moat, dragons, everything, translucent roof, a Publix, pub subs, all everything you want if you're in Jacksonville. Duval.
Hey, isn't it interesting? So back-to-back days, Jacksonville and Charlotte have gotten approval for new stadiums. The 2-time defending Super Bowl champs did not.
That is weird. They're playing with fire down there, I feel like.
No, and one was a vote. The other were handled a little bit differently, but
they're ramping up on the Kansas side.
A
giant sunflower for the Chiefs.
They are. I've talking to as I go to more Chief games and Royals games, but it doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the K. I love Arrowhead.
Same.
GEHA Field. Doesn't matter. I'm going to go no matter what.
It'll be nice if they do it.
If the Royals are downtown, or there was, I think the latest rendering is right on the state line, where you could hit a home run into Kansas.
Yeah.
The pitch is thrown in Missouri, but it's a home run could be hit into Kansas.
Potholes and 10 inches of snow on the road. You hit the home run, clear roads.
I don't think it matters if they're in Kansas or Missouri. I'm still going to go.
Yeah. Be a shorter drive if it's by the Speedway.
Now, if I lived down there and it impacted my taxes, I would maybe think differently. But an outside fan, I don't care if I'm driving. It actually may be easier if it's out near the Speedway to get there than coming down 29 and then navigating your way around by Worlds of Fun, or if you cut through downtown to go out to 70. But you're right. Kansas, the state of Kansas is very aggressive on trying to get the Royals and the Chiefs to move to that side.
Which just reminds everybody, Kansas greater than Missouri. Just here to tell you.
That's Jimmy. I'm Gary. Nick is away today. A couple of things on our discussion at the end of last hour. So the whole Texas A&M Texas rivalry and Texas sabotaging Texas A&M season by hiring their coach. Word is starting to trickle out that this became a discussion between Chris Del Conte, who is the athletic director at Texas, used to be the athletic director at TCU, where Jim Schlossnagle used to be. Schlossnagle had great success, but off the field, he went through a divorce. His wife got custody of the kids. He did not want to stay in Fort Worth, so he went to College Station. He's not staying in College Station. Now he's going to Texas, but word has leaked out that Schlossnagle and the AD at Texas were discussing this and had a deal done before the end of the regular season. The postseason comes. Texas gets assigned to College Station. Texas A&M play a game in a regional. Texas A&M wins the regional. They win the Super. They come into the College World Series. There's 7 outs. Monday, on the day for the national championship game, Game 3, Texas announced officially David Pierce has been fired, even though maybe a week to 10 days prior to that, he had already been told he was fired, and the players at Texas already knew that he was out, and they knew that Schlossnagle was their new head coach. Yeah, that's how it unfolded. So we had a discussion at the end of last hour about, can your rival, either the head-to-head, or they're not only beating you head-to-head, but they're also having success while you're kind of treading water, if that'll get you fired. Sean has a great
one.
Has a great one here. Is when the head coach at Navy, Ken, who I butcher his last name,
who I used to Matalolo?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, still got it.
He was a really, really good coach, but then when he couldn't beat Army, he became not a good coach, regardless of what he did against everybody else. It's the whole Michigan-Ohio State football debate. If you don't get Michigan-Ohio State football, understand that if you don't beat that one team, your chief rival, it's hell for 364 days. Even if you are 56-5.
Yeah.
Iowa JD says, and I disagree with this, we know Kirk got Bo Pelini fired. Your AD even referenced it. Well, Bo got himself fired. But
I never thought
people
that.
forget of the stretch of Nebraska being in the Big Ten, and Iowa has owned Nebraska. I'm okay admitting that because facts are facts.
They've won the games.
The person that was the most successful against Iowa was Bo Pelini. Iowa fans can hate Pelini, and especially at the end, a total meltdown. But Bo had a winning record against Iowa. He won a championship on your field.
Mm-hmm.
Do you forget that? It was nice and cold. Rex
Usually
Burkhead had a big day, stifling defense, and Nebraska won a championship on Iowa's field.
I went in 11. Nebraska won that game. It's a lovely day.
Bo was 3-1 against Iowa in the Big Ten, and usually he would outcoach the guy across the sidelines from him. Yeah. Look at I to this day, in the game in which Nebraska was down 24-7 and won in overtime. That was the Tommy Armstrong game where he threw 4 touchdown passes. I will never, ever, ever understand why Iowa kept kicking to DeMornay Pearsonell. He'd already housed one 80 yards in that game, and they continued to kick to him. But Bo got himself fired at Nebraska.
Yeah. And the AD
that relationship was never going to work. But Kirk didn't get Bo fired, regardless of what the mouthpiece said in his announcement of Bo being dismissed. Bo was 3-1 against Iowa. So that didn't happen. Did Kirk impact some other things? Maybe. Adam brought this up earlier about T.O. Nebraska, Oklahoma, fierce rivals, especially back when T.O. took the job from Devaney.
Yeah.
If Devaney was not the athletic director, and I wasn't around back then, but I've heard stories.
Yeah, you didn't host Big Red Overreaction.
Nebraska, Nebraska, Oklahoma in the 70s was intense. It was intense in the 80s as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the 90s when the youth will not understand the full scope of what Nebraska, Oklahoma was, because your dalliance with Nebraska, Oklahoma was not the same. There was some bad football. There were very few 2001s or Big 12 championship game matchups. But think about this. If you believe that not beating your chief rival, even if you have a good overall record,
and everyone likes you,
and everyone likes you and factors it. Well, I don't know. Back in the 70s when you weren't beating Oklahoma, things were uncomfortable. Adam is right on a tweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you dabbled with Colorado because you couldn't beat Oklahoma. If Devaney was not the athletic director at Nebraska, and your head football coach against your number one rival, you lost 8 of the first 9 times you played them, including the first 5, which in that stretch, Nebraska got blown out. There were 3 of the 5 games, I believe. T.O.'s first 5 games against Oklahoma, 3 of the 5 were at least by almost 4 touchdowns. So you could have made a case. Well, our guy can't beat Oklahoma. We got to find a guy that can beat Oklahoma because we've lost 5 straight games to them in his first 5 games against them. We got to fire him.
That's what we're used to.
You could make a case. Blanket OU got blanket Nebraska fired. Chief rival. Now, T.O. turned it around after, he had the stretch of after losing 8 of 9, he won 3 in a row, and the rest is history. But if Devaney is not the athletic director and you can't beat your rival and you're getting beat badly by them, you could have made a case that, we're winning everywhere else, but we're not winning the games that matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, got to make a move.
Look at Mac Brown. We're talking earlier. I mean, that 05 season, I know they won the championship, but most of them, yes, they'll talk about the SC game, but what really told their fans that, okay, they might have a chance had nothing to do with any of the games in later October, November is when they beat Oklahoma 45-12, snapped the 5-game losing streak. And there are some parallels here. You had 63-14, you had 14-3, you had, I think 38-28, something like that. And then 65-13 and 12-0. You look at the Oklahoma Nebraska deal, they lost 6 in a row from 72-77. And one of them is 27-0 in Norman. So yeah, I'm sure 38-7 was the last one. So people can't underestimate the significance of that 78 game. And you've talked about that on the show before, the 17-14 game, but yeah, it changed everything. But it was a different time back then, thankfully.
There's more factors in the Frank Solich-Steve Peterson relationship, but I'm sure people at Kansas State will say that Bill Snyder got Frank Solich fired.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank's the last 4 games, last 4 games that Nebraska and Kansas State played under Frank, they lost the snow game down in Manhattan, got beat by a point. Then the following year, Nebraska was number 2 in the country. Still a tight game. They won by 10 here.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years got blown out in Manhattan, the bad 0-2 team.
The bad uniforms.
And then the game that, probably was the nail in the coffin was the blowout 38-9 in Lincoln, where that guy is talking to sweet holders. Bo runs across the field, gets in Snyder's face. Now, there were other factors that is maybe not even in consideration. But
people outside of here.
But I'm sure at Kansas State they're going, oh, Jesus, yeah. Okay, this is who Snyder got fired when he was his first go-around at K-State.
Kansas coach.
He got blank, and he can say, we got Frank Solich fired. We won 3 of 4 And in two of those 3 games we won, blew them out. Wasn't even close.
Yeah. Got Larry Smith fired at Missouri. That's why they hired Pinkel. 66-0 to 99 started the end for him.
You want to know a rivalry? If my job depends on beating that team, that's a rivalry.
Yep.
All right. 28 past the hour. Take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get some emails and some tweets on this. And the guy that is on the clock at Texas A&M to make a hire for baseball with a huge amount of money, what will he do? And then what will he do after he makes this hire? That and much more to come as we roll till 10. Jake Eisenberg, Brandon Vogel, a little bit later will join the show. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone. Hey, this is what you could do. You could make your life a lot better if you are in the market for a new suit or sport coat, because Lindley Clothing, they are having their buy one, get one 50% off sale right now. The BOGO 50% sale is going on as we speak. Well, when they open the doors today. And it will end next week on July 3rd. So do not wait. You already know. You've heard me talking about my experience, and maybe you've seen my fit, and you've gone, man, you're pretty rad. And I say, that's because of John, Marlene, and the whole group over at Lindley Clothing. They get me right. So you know what their selection is. They have more sizes, more styles, more selection now that they've added well-suited as next door. So get there today. You're in the market for a new suit. Don't rent, buy. You need a sport coat? Get the best and get it at a great deal right now. This is an unbelievable offer. Doesn't come around all the time. Buy one, get one, 50% off sale right now at Lindley Clothing. Buy one suit or sport coat at regular price and get a suit or sport coat of equal or lesser value at 50% off. Check them out today. They've got the biggest selection of men's casual clothing and casual wear in the entire state, and they are conveniently located right in the Linden Market, 132nd and West Dodge, where you'll find Lindley Clothing and well-suited and the BOGO 50% sale.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. You get a lot of junk in your inbox. This one, not junk at all. 1620 The Email. Exclusive content, contests, other stuff probably. Subscribe today at 1620thezone.com. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Rain and storms move out with decreasing clouds throughout the morning. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny, seasonally warm with a high of 87 and breezy with northeasterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Minor flooding is currently occurring along the Missouri River at Omaha. The river is still expected to crest now late Thursday at 35 feet with moderate flooding forecast. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. Crash reported westbound at 120th and Dodge. The left lane is currently blocked due to this crash. Expect delays here for a little while and stay right in that area. Also some slow-moving traffic JFK northbound between Q Street and F Street. Just a heads up, give yourself a little bit of extra time on the commute this morning due to the power outages throughout the city. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
Lotto America from the Nebraska Lottery is here. It only costs $1 to play, features a starting jackpot of $2 million, and has drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Play today. Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Funplex asked an AI assistant where you find ultimate summer fun. And, well...
Funplex. Nebraska's largest water park and rides. Now with the brand new spinning, tilting Wipeout. Tasty treats, special events, private cabanas, and more. Probability of unforgettable fun, 100%. Funplex is the best choice for an all-in-one day of summer excitement.
So, see you at Funplex then?
I am a language model.
Yeah, fair enough. Get your human tickets at fun-plex.com. Let's go!
No one knows the importance of a great assist more than Lowe's and Leo Messi. That's why we've teamed up to give My Lowe's Rewards members 10 times the points when Messi makes an assist during CONMEBOL Copa America USA 2024. Activate this offer starting June 20th, so when Messi assists, you score. Shop the day after an assist to earn those extra points. Not a My Lowe's Rewards member? Join for free today. Visit Lowe's.com/Messi for more details.
Tell us how you feel on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Reach Gary, Nick, Connor, Josh, and John anytime on the J-Tech Construction and Solar Zone Twitter feed. Contact the official exterior and solar experts of the Huskers. J-Tech Construction at yourexteriorexperts.com.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
The boys of summer are back. Kansas City Royals baseball can be heard all season long on your home for Royals baseball in Omaha, 1620 The Zone and 1180 The Zone. Royals baseball is presented by J. Stinnett Contracting. We have you covered.
Roofing, siding, and gutters. Make the right call with the Rivalries at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Normal day at Boulder is about to start on social media. So Deion Sanders sat down with Joe Klatt to talk about this upcoming year, what the future is like. And Deion says he has no interest in leaving Colorado for the NFL. I'm a leader of men, not a follower of men. I'm a father, not a baby daddy. I led my sons. I don't follow my sons. So it's quote tweeted by a guy that is runs a quarterback academy. Says, quote, on the bright side, if he thinks you are good enough, he will also consider you one of his sons. So one of Deion Sanders' sons, Deion Sanders Jr., has gotten involved in the conversation this morning. He said, you really bitch made. And then it goes back and forth. Man's a junior getting treated like a stepson all because he couldn't backpedal. Damn shame. Then he says, you lashing out because your pop's fourth favorite son behind a kid he just met a few years ago and he knew he was good at football? We have not seen if dad is going to get involved in the social media conversation.
We all know likely.
So
stay tuned.
Colorado had been quiet for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
They've been actually like doing fairly well in the high school recruiting. Today will be a fun day after. And we're back. Okay, so Sean, this discussion about your rival and your rival gets your coach fired. And there's a little bit of that involved with Texas A&M and Texas baseball. Texas A&M is rising up. Texas baseball standards are not being met. Okay, we'll fire our coach because our rival is in the College World Series and playing for a national championship. And we've led down this path of go back to the 70s when T.O. couldn't beat Oklahoma. And I asked Sean, I said, and T.O. lost the first 5 games. He lost 8 of the first 9 against Oklahoma. And I said, if they had fired T.O. back in the 70s because of his inability to beat OU, would it have been widely agreed upon? And he says, absolutely. That win against OU in 78 was a watershed moment.
Changed everything. And T.O.'s program was truly taking off, and the rest was history, is what Nebraska started to put together as they went into the 80s. But when I, back in the day was doing my research, way back in the day as I was starting to dig into this stuff and seeing that, I remember thinking, wow, how did he survive when by this point in my life, and nobody did that back then, but it was a different time. People don't like to talk about them here, but Bill McCartney also could have been fired early in his tenure at Colorado, and they stuck by him. And then, they started doing their things too. But it was a different time. Teams or schools and whatnot, they used to have a little more patience. And I'm not advocating one way or the other. I'm just saying a lot of these things don't happen today because you have a lot more input from donors, from fans, and especially in places down there at Texas A&M. If there's one thing that Trev will at least have in his back pocket is the donors. Hey, the baseball people will theoretically help him to pick the right. There is no price that is, it doesn't matter who they want. They can go try and hire whoever.
So is there any way, we just went through this with Trev and his departure from Nebraska to Texas A&M. Now, he was here the entire College World Series. He
spent lots of money.
I think so.
Yeah.
But he was here the entire College World Series.
Just looking out for Omaha.
Just recently sold his house in Lincoln, ready to move into his house in College Station. He was intentionally not super visible. He did go down on the field after the game on Monday, but no other time. And I don't think I noticed, outside of Scott Strickland from Florida, was win or lose, was down on the field before and after games. But I think Trev, the only time I saw him down the field was after they lost on Monday night. But he was here. He did have a private gathering for people that worked for him at Nebraska that he didn't get to say goodbye to. But we know what that was like 3 months ago.
Tried to get him to co-host at OBB. Return a call.
Is there any way, because I don't have a problem with Schlossnagle taking the job. Could he have handled it differently? 140% yes. Should have known that the question was going to come on Monday night. It's a valid question. It's 100% has to be asked. There's a way to respond to it. And you already knew in your head you were leaving. You could have handled that in a way that you did not flame the reporter who you need to apologize to, but you need to apologize to it publicly, not privately with a DM or a phone call. You need to do that and then acknowledge publicly that you're apologizing to the reporter that asked the question. But you have to be prepared for that. You know that question's going to come. I know in the heat of the moment when you lose the national championship game with 1 foot out the door, you know that question is coming. Or your sports information director has to prepare you, coach. I know emotions are running hot right now. You got to know there's going to be a question about what happened at Texas. Prepare yourself. And you can handle it by saying, I'll address that, but tonight is about my team and the guys that we just had a whole season and they're heartbroken, and I'll talk about that at another time. And I think we would have been fine. But in these cases of high-profile coaching where they move, I mean, was there a right way for Lincoln Riley to depart Oklahoma?
It's almost at a certain point, you need to just rip the Band-Aid. If it's out there, if I'm the score, then just do it, because I need to find a new coach. If you don't want to be here, I need to get someone who wants to be here, and vice versa.
And you can look at that as a fan base and go, okay, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I want people that want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these resources. You got all this support.
I want to donate.
If you don't want to be here, that's fine. Move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I don't want you having second guesses. I want people that that want to be here. So that might help with the transition in the power chair in Lincoln.
Mm-hmm. I just want someone who wants to be here. It's a pretty good place.
Brian Kelly. Could Brian Kelly have handled his departure from Notre Dame better?
Absolutely.
Okay. How?
Well, thinking back on that, just be honest. Because I didn't have any problem with him taking the job.
Yeah,
it's the SEC. That conversation when we had it, I remember. I actually understand why he took the job.
Taking these jobs, no problem.
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
Same.
How you handle your departure.
Yeah.
Now, you can't always say, I'm going to have a press conference to say I'm goodbye. Sometimes it's tough to tell your players. Like, we're finding out the Texas A&M players found out yesterday on social media. That's how they found out that he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't get an opportunity to have a face-to-face, or the plane lands in College Station. You say, nobody gets off. I got to tell you guys, hey, this is the situation. I'm leaving for Texas. Could you handle those better? Yeah. And you probably, when everything settles down, you reach back out to players and say, hey, thank you. Hell, you might even recruit someone.
What do you think of that portal?
John writes in to the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
I don't care what Schlossnagle does, but being a prick to a reporter that asked about the Texas job and then taking a job less than 24 hours later is a DB move. And he's going to have to wear that.
Yeah.
That's the part that he could have handled differently. And either it's him or somebody around him saying, hey, this is coming. They're going to ask, Coach, just be prepared. Just be prepared.
And what you said right there, hey, right now it's about the guys.
That's all you.
I heard.
That's all you have to say. And you know what, reporter, I did my job. I asked the question. He addressed it. I get it. They just lost the biggest game of the entire season, but at least he acknowledged it and left it. I will talk about that at an appropriate time.
Yeah, I can't even think about that right
instead
now.
of attacking the reporter, making it personal, and then he brought his family into the situation. And I'm sure a lot of people did not know outside of TCU, Texas A&M, or you're in the college baseball community about his family situation. That when he was at TCU, he got divorced. He did not have custody of his kids, so it made it easier for him to go to Texas A&M. And he got to Texas A&M. He has no personal life. He has no dating life. Austin looks a lot better than College Station. That's the way he could have handled it a lot better. Now,
have you seen the tail in Austin? Good Lord.
But here, if you're on the other side,
there's a
Texas people don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, we got our guy.
Yeah.
We got our guy.
And he's your guy. And we took him.
He might do that to us for some other job. But I mean, we're Texas. Nobody leaves Texas for another job. Texas is the greatest place ever to be. But we don't care. He screwed you. We screwed your season. You know what? He may have made a decision on that game Monday night because he already had one foot out the door. Look at him. There's a video. There's a strike call. He comes out of the dugout to argue, but he's not like vehement about.
I disagree with your call.
It's a Laviolette, I think a check swing, and Schlossnagle comes out of the dugout, doesn't like get in the face of the umpire, just like, is that strike 2? And then he walks back to the dugout.
What time's your flight tomorrow morning?
On Twitter.
Did you get on the Ferris wheel?
Kevin says, should be a quick search for A&M. If Trev was good at his job, should be prepared for this.
And most ADs always have a list in their drawer. 3, just in case. How it was told to me, if my coach gets hit by a bus this morning and I have to have a list, I at least start with this list. I would think he has that. Plus, the people that he is going to lean on there will probably be like, hey, this is the guy. Money's not an object. Do what you got to do. We got you.
I think the only baseball coach that Trev has hired was Evan Porter at Omaha, and he hired him when the people above Trev said Bob Harold can't continue as the baseball coach, and had to call Evan when he was playing overseas and said, hey, would you like to be the head coach?
Sounds like a movie.
He'll have options. I mean, he's got a war chest. He's got an elite status program.
You mentioned one already. We mentioned one yesterday.
Eric Backett at Clemson would be a great selection.
BOC, great. Be a phone call to him.
You have to understand that cultish behavior. The head coach at Oregon. You know, I mean, if you're somebody that's got a nice program that's gone to the supers, but now you're transitioning to a conference which, when both playing well, is not on the level of the conference that you just left, Texas A&M might look pretty good to you. And oh, by the way, you're familiar. You were just there for the super.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now imagine if that ball 5 chant is for you instead of against you.
But I imagine he's prepared, and it might be a place where people come to you. You don't go to other people.
Look at when LSU hires Arizona's coach. Same type stuff. Can't pass up that job.
Here is Kevin before the break on the 42 Degrees Source Hotline. Good morning, Kevin.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
How you doing?
Doing great. So I was listening to Unsportsmanlike Conduct, but they brought up something about talking about, I don't know if it's parroting or parity, but it's that you want to see the good teams to beat them or not. Like the Patriots, like you want your team to beat you, like chasing one team to win.
Mm-hmm. And today that's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I know. As a Broncos fan, but because you guys are so dialed in on so many sports, really the only question I had was, how do you guys because I know you guys do it so excellently. How do you guys manage to get past any fandom despite being so dialed in on all? Like, you guys are encyclopedic about it.
Oh, I see what you're asking. How do you suspend judgment?
Well, yeah. How do you suspend judgment while still being a fan of it? And because it's your job, I just think it's impressive. So I'll hang up and I'll listen to you guys because you guys are great.
Hey, Kev.
And then, yes, sir.
Oh, no, I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. I think for listening to 1620.
Yeah, I just couldn't dial any higher.
All right. All right. Thank you. Let me first address the thing about parity, because I was going to bring this up yesterday after whether it be college baseball, where since 2011, 7 different SEC teams have won. We haven't had a repeat champion in college baseball since South Carolina did it. Is that right? Yes.
Sounds about right.
So it's been a while since we've had a repeat champion in college baseball, and we have some new faces that are winning. They all might be from the same conference.
And they're awful good.
And then the Florida Panthers win Monday night the Stanley Cup.
Good, great team.
Aren't we in the golden age of parity? So we've had the last 6 years in the NBA, we've had 6 different champions.
Mm-hmm.
We have had in the NHL 7 different champions in the last 8 years. In Major League Baseball, we've had 9 different champions in the last 10 years. But the sport that is built for parity, that has all the money, really doesn't have parity, because one team has won 3 of the last 5, including back-to-back. Isn't that interesting? But would you agree that in sports, kind of in college football a little bit, definitely college basketball, we are in the golden age of parity?
Yeah. A lot of fan bases have hope.
Yes.
It used to be the opposite.
Well, and
for a lot of sports, a lot of us of a certain age remember NBA, Lakers and Celtics. That's it.
Yeah.
Forever in the 80s.
Now we've
90s Bulls.
The Celtics finally got back and they hang 18. But the Nuggets were a newbie last year.
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple of teams that are on the cusp of winning their first championship or their first championship in a long time. I think that also,
Shout out Ant-Man.
I think it also contributes to these amazing TV ratings, because you're right. I can tune into a game and my team is not out of it. Now,
look at baseball with all the teams available or alive in the wild card. There's hope.
It is the golden age of parity in sports.
That's why the Spurs will be back next year in the playoffs where they belong.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. But I just find it interesting that the sport that they had a commissioner that wanted to develop parity is the sport that really does not have parity.
Ironic, actually. Very ironic. But also a testament, and remember, people that know, I'm not a Chiefs fan. That's you. But I have tremendous respect for the fact that in this day and age where it is hard to win one and stay at that level, that's hard. People really forget how hard that is to do what they've done right now, because all these challengers are not going to stop coming after you. Well, look at this year. We can get into that, and we will throughout the summer, but we've talked about Joe Burrow coming back for Cincinnati. So that's one example. But in the NFL, you could come up with 10 teams, but at the end of the year, it seems like there's only one that's there, and that was the league that always touted parity. So that's
don't you think that the NFL and college football are lack of parity proof? We'll watch no matter what.
Yes.
Like we can say, oh, I have fatigue of Georgia and Alabama playing for the championship. I'm still going to watch.
I love ball.
I
always will.
I hate the Chiefs. I'm still going to watch.
Yeah. They're a great team to watch if you just like football.
But if it was all about the Yankees or all about the Lakers or all about, I'll say the Penguins, we might not watch. But across the board, it seems like every sports media tweet or release is about record ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Look at college baseball. I'm going to give you amazing numbers. Second most watched College World Series. Monday night, 3.34 mil for the entire College World Series, 2.82 mil. It's the second highest ranked College World Series ever in terms of television ratings.
I believe it. Always loved watching it, and now many people are seeing it as well.
I'll let you answer the other part of Kevin's question when we come back. Don's got a good one about coaches being halfway out at the end of a good season. That's a good one. We'll read that tweet and much more. Plus, as Trev has to make a decision, welcome to the SEC and welcome to College Station. How long is he going to be in College Station? Will he hire a baseball coach that will be there longer than he will? 7:53. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Jimmy here today on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
News Talk 1290 Coil is your radio home for Omaha Storm Chasers baseball, proud AAA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals. Tune in to hear every pitch, every hit, and every out as the Chasers play at Warner Park and across the International League in 2024. With the voice of the Omaha Storm Chasers, Nick Batters, on News Talk 1290 Coil.
Tune in to 1290 Coil all season long for your Omaha Storm Chasers baseball as they take on the International League. It's Storm Chasers baseball on 1290 Coil.
It's simple, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
No, it's not a new dance trend.
It's the free application for federal student aid.
That's money for college. Thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing.
Just 10 minutes is all it takes to apply for the financial aid you need.
With fewer questions and faster fill-out time, it's simple to see how much you're qualified for.
Go ahead, Nebraska. Do the FAFSA.
Get started at dothefafsa.org.
Ramona's Mexican Restaurant, previously located at 30th and Reddick and now at 30th and Willett in historic Florence, is still the way you remember it. Nachos, deep fried burritos, and those amazing cinnamon chips. Have a margarita or a cocktail. Open until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturdays too. And try Ramona's out of this world 2.5-pound massive burger with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, and pickles. Ramona's Mexican Restaurant. Stop in today. Follow them on Facebook for specials and news about their monthly musical bingo.
Is your concrete cracked or uneven? Hey everyone, Coach Greg McDermott here to explain why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. Many people think they need to replace broken concrete, but repairing it provides durable protection and comes at a fraction of the cost. Everlevel provides permanent repair solutions to fix your concrete and protect it against future damage, and it all comes with a long-term transferable warranty. They offer free inspections to walk you through the entire process. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska, as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
Fireworks season is here. This week is the Zone Deal 4th of July Mega Week. Each day will feature deals from businesses sure to make your 4th of July great. Half off. Check out our deals from Twisted Thunder Fireworks, Ted and Wally's Premium Ice Cream, Agave Azteca, Mex Eatly, and Rib Shack, all for half off. Don't miss this 4th of July Zone Mega Week at 1620thezone.com and click deals.
1620 The Zone. and 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Jimmy and I were doing the break. We're looking at Texas A&M football. I don't know if this ever comes up that if they clamor to be back in the Southwest Conference. Because in the Southwest Conference, like the last 4 or 5 years, Texas A&M was dominating. And then the Big 12 comes to be.
Did love those Raycom 11:30 games.
So help me here with Texas A&M. They've got a lot of money. So they have the 7th largest budget and revenue stream in college athletics.
I believe it.
Ohio State, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M. That's your top 7. In terms of return on investment, whether it be just football or the most popular spectator sports, men and women, of that list, because Texas across the board, really good men and women. Alabama, of course, football, but look at Alabama's other sports.
Alabama basketball.
Baseball is on, but softball is good. Michigan football, men's basketball should Dusty May now in a transition. But the other sports, Georgia, now that baseball is back, Georgia across the board, whether it be in the pool or at Sanford Stadium, good. LSU across the board. Has Texas A&M fooled us because we get lost in money?
Yes.
And I say this, look at football. If I stopped the guy on the street today and I said, tell me about Texas A&M football, what do you think they would say?
Wrecking Crew.
Okay.
People still remember that. Quentin Coriat ending that poor TCU guy on a Thursday night.
But if you, without like picking up a Phil Steele magazine and watching a lot of football, wouldn't you get the impression that Texas A&M football is really good and has been really good?
I mean, it's what I grew up. You thought, oh, wow, A&M football. And yeah, they were always underachieving until 98, which is why K-State fans get really angry because A&M had a history of this. I'm just talking about football, of choking in big time competition, in bowl games. And they're really good. I talk about the Wrecking Crew and the Aggies that I grew up with. They had the VHS domination in College Station. It was basically just 10 years of them beating Texas. That's pretty much the entire VHS. But they'd get into the Cotton Bowl, Southwest Conference, and they would lose mostly every year, except they beat Bo Jackson and Auburn in 86. That was legit. And then they beat Notre Dame in 88 because Notre Dame, they had Tim Brown, but it wasn't the same. Lou Holtz had just taken the job there. But in the early 90s, they had those teams. They win the Southwest Conference in 91, lose 10-2 to Florida State Cotton Bowl, and then back-to-back years. They had the really good year in 92. Man. What's that? Oh, yeah, I remember it. They lose to Jerome Bettis and Notre Dame, and then they lose the year after. So they were always known as getting into big games, but not capitalizing as they went into the 90s. And the 94's team was really good, but they were on probation. So no postseason. But to me, yes.
So
they have a lot of money, but they don't have the titles to show for
it.
And great support and fan.
But in the Big 12, they only went to 2 Big 12 championship games. And they both were when Nebraska was still in the Big 12, and one of them was against Nebraska. 97 in the Alamo Dome.
54-15.
Amon Green ran all over them. Now, the next year, and that's R.C. Slocum, the next year they go to the Big 12 championship game, and that was the great K-State team that had just beaten Nebraska to get to the championship game.
They're down 27-12.
They had Michael Bishop. That was, I think Stewart was a quarterback of Texas A&M.
Yes.
It was really, there weren't a lot of well-known guys.
That went on defense, but
they beat that great K-State team. That's their only 2 appearances in the Big 12 championship game were in 97, got blown out by Nebraska, and then they went back the following year and ruined K-State's great season. But the perception of Texas A&M football is that, oh my God, they recruit well and they just win. I mean, Johnny Manziel, did you see what he did in Tuscaloosa? But do you know that since they entered the Big 12, the first year being 96,
and they were in for 15 years, 16 years.
The highest they were ever finished in rankings was that 98 team where they finished 11th.
Mm-hmm. They lost to Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl.
Kevin Sumlin's first year, they finished 5th in the country. They were 11-2.
Beat Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl.
Then the COVID year, that was a really good Texas A&M team that went 9-1. But the following year, they struggled, and they went 8-4 because they began the year in the top 10. They did not finish the year ranked. Now, they beat Alabama at home. That was not a great Alabama team. And then 5-7, 6-4, Jimbo Fisher is out.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, and I had this, we had this discussion last week because there is this perception about Texas A&M football that there is unbelievable football program because they got a lot of money and they got a big stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that they've underperformed.
Great place to watch a George Strait concert, but that's a different conversation.
It is. And I don't know if this meant anything or not. Jim Schlossnagle tweeted out, because that was going on while the baseball team was here in Omaha, tweeted out kudos to a person that had been fired by Trev of doing a great job.
Oh.
And did not include his athletic director. It's 8:04. We have another thought on what the challenge is with Texas A&M that we'll get into. Plus, we need to discuss TJ Lateef's comments and Memorial Stadium rears its ugly head again when it comes to not winning on your home field. We'll do that. We'll roll till 10. Jake Eisenberg coming up at the top of the next hour. Brandon Vogel as well. Nick is out today, a little bit under the weather. Jimmy is in with me on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. The earlier crash at 120th and Dodge westbound still has that left lane blocking traffic backed up to 108th Avenue. No other accidents or any slow-moving traffic currently. Things will pick up here in the next hour, but this might be a good morning to give yourself a little bit of extra time with the power outages throughout the city. Some traffic lights still are not back up, and as always, stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krunzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We're excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best-in-town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
Cracklin' Kirk's huge grand opening sale is June 25th through the 27th. Let's check in with Craig from Cracklin' Kirk's to see what's going on.
All right, yeah, we have tons of deals going on for our huge grand opening sale. Rainbow snow cone, $9.99. Huge, beautiful fountain. We have 3-inch, 9-on-a-board racks as low as $79.99. You're not going to find that deal anywhere else. Big win. Our premium 7-inch artillery shell kit, $109.99. How about this deal? 4 assorted 500-gram cakes, $88.88. And we got some beautiful new fountains in this year, just $5.99 each. Check us out for all these great deals.
Now, those are incredible deals. Go check them out. June 25th through July 4th from 10 to 10 in Waterloo at 301 South Front Street, in Springfield at 102 Main Street, and GetKirks.com for all the specials and location info. Cracklin' Kirk's, giving you more bang for your buck for more than 30 years. GetKirks.com.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-496-2714. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-496-2714. That's 800-496-2714. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Nebraska, where hardworking hands build incredible things. Like the strong hands of a farmer who gets up early to harvest opportunity, or the delicate fingers of a pastry chef who bakes everything from the heart. When the hands behind your business are hard at work, we offer our hands for support. Because we're not just a bank in Nebraska, we're Nebraska in a bank. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
If baseball and ice cream go together like fireworks in the 4th of July, I mean, on any given night during the summer, you're bound to run into a team of little leaguers getting ice cream after their game, win or lose. So before you head home after the game, head over to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream and pick up your flavor. They serve more than 3,000 of them. Keep track of the daily specials on social media. Celebrating more than 35 years. Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Benson, Old Market, and at tedandwallys.com.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And while cars do need wheels, they also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever, the Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, this isn't Jelly Roll, who is coming to the CHI Health Center November 12th.
He's here last fall, wasn't he?
Yes, because his thing is he will go to, I think he went to the Douglas County Correction Center.
Most people go to the zoo.
He had a rough life before catching a break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, zoo or the correction center.
That's tough.
But yeah, that is one of the best things coming to my inbox this morning.
So you got a concert announcement this morning.
Yes,
we got it all.
Jake Eisenberg, voice of the Kansas City Royals, our good friend, going to join us coming up at 9. Trev Alberts has to hire a baseball coach. Texas is paying Schlossnagle close to $2 million to be a baseball coach on the 40 acres.
Surprised it's that low.
They have some serious money at Texas. I mean, massive money, and they like to spend it. We will watch from afar what their transition to the SEC is. They will have a place in the SEC, but they will not have the loudest voice. But if football is good, and appears that Sark has them in a good spot, especially in transition from the Big 12 to the SEC, then their voice will get louder, and we will develop more anger towards Texas. But they got money and they spend money. Now, their return on investment on the big money that they spend is a lot better than the return on investment that Texas A&M spends. But Trev will have money to spend on a baseball coach. Will that be one of the last hires he makes at Texas A&M? The previous AD, Ross Bjork, who went to Ohio State that opened up the job at Texas A&M, made I think, a very smart hire with Mike Elko.
A great hire.
I think Mike Elko was a really, really smart hire for Texas A&M.
Who wants to be there.
And going back to something I said, I'm not saying he wants to be there in this part of the discussion, but just being a fit in a place that I think you have to be one of them to understand them, that being Texas A&M and everything that goes in with being part of getting your Aggie ring, all of that stuff. I mean, it's a different world. You look at the A&M boosters that we ran across the College World Series compared to like the Tennessee boosters.
Good morning, Century Club.
Just different. It's I don't know if it's more buttoned up. The boots are shinier.
The belt buckle's bigger.
This
Stetson's perfectly on.
Again, I'm doing a terrible job here of explaining it. It's just different. And so when
this really is, if you know, you know.
When I looked at Trev and I talked to him for a while the other night, last week. It seems like such an odd fit. And, he was really, really interested in running the college football playoff. Went through the whole vetting process. And, he didn't tell me this, and I didn't ask, hey, is this your final stop? I mean, I think there is something still above Texas A&M for him, and I think it's inside of the SEC office. I would not be surprised if he is in the SEC office someday, whether it be in the NIL world, which is like his crusade, or some other role. I think that's where he eventually lands.
Do you think this is maybe why he took said job? I mean, not discounting all the other stuff we've talked about on the show, but I'm saying, did that add to the, okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's
position yourself.
He told me, he goes, I failed. He goes, I couldn't get Lincoln and Omaha together. I failed. I was like, whoa.
Deep.
He has there's something out there that he wants, that he's searching for, that he hasn't found yet. And he couldn't find it in Nebraska. And now the guy that's at Nebraska has found Nebraska and wants to be at Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Both sides are better for it.
Yes.
So we'll see. This is a major hire, because if you're on Texas Eggs, and I went there during the break, oh my God.
You can spend a day.
You got to understand it, man. Welcome. If you don't understand it, don't take the job. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but it's a whole different world, and especially on a situation like this.
Mm-hmm.
Don tweets in, and this is a coach who has one foot out the door on how to handle talking about what you've just gone through with your team and handling what everybody kind of knows the right way. He uses Roy Williams as an example. So Roy Williams, after KU lost, he was immediately asked about the UNC job.
By Bonnie Bernstein.
Yes, which I think he still handled pretty well. I mean, he was raw emotionally, and he was all about the kids in his locker room.
And they baited him, not Bonnie, but in the ear, they were telling her to bait him. And
we all knew, but he wasn't having it at the time.
He didn't like his AD at the time in 2002, and that's putting it nicely, because that's very much an understatement of the crushed dove that was Al Bowl, but he was as good as gone. And you brought this up earlier. If Schloss wins the title Monday night, the parallels there, if Kansas beats Syracuse in 2003, is there as much venom because he went home? The fact that they lost, and the fact that he said he was not going to go, and then the comment on CBS after the game, it added, I think I still have the T-shirt of the quote somewhere, but
well, that's why
I just like bad words. I had no opinion.
I don't think any of us have a problem with him taking the job.
Yeah.
And maybe Texas A&M people might look differently because they're going to the chief rival.
It's
how you handle it. But you have to be prepared for that question. You knew that question is coming.
Yeah.
And you can defer. And I don't think anybody would be like, oh, you're a knob.
Coach speak. We all know it.
Yeah. I know you have to do your job. We just lost our game. I will address that at another point. And even if when you land tomorrow, you tell your AD that, hey, I'm out. Well, I mean, now that's, it doesn't matter in Austin. They're like, we got our guy. I don't care what our guy did to the reporter at Texas A&M. But that'll always be something that will be attached to him. And I think that as I'm watching all the talking head shows today here in studio, that's kind of one. It's just the way that he. All right, 817. Speaking of quotes and coming back to bite you or being used against you or people to go, So TJ Lateef, who Nebraska got as kind of the front of their class of 2025, the quarterback from California. And at the time, I said two things. One, I like his film, plays against really good competition, looks good, would be somebody that doesn't doesn't need to come in and start right away, but also more impressive that with a 5-star quarterback who has yet to play a game that could be here for 3 years, you were able to get a quarterback like that in a position where it is musical chairs and everybody wants to play and they want to play early, but you got a commitment. That says something about selling the plan. Well, what is the plan now? Because TJ Lateef went to the Elite 11 finals earlier this month, and Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports did an interview that got released yesterday, and Lateef was asked a simple question. Is recruitment completely shut down? Quarterbacks commit early. You want them in your class early because then you can kind of build around them. Might be a little bit different because I think Nebraska is still in flux on how big this class is going to be. And also, you already have a quarterback. You have a dude, so your quarterback is one of the faces of your class, but doesn't need to be the dude, even though he might be the dude. Lateef's response to the question is, recruitment is ... We won't speak on that. Not necessarily the most convincing answer if you have recruited him and you have him on your big board as a member of your 2025 class. Now, TJ Lateef may be smarter than we think, and he's playing the game, leaving his options open because he doesn't know how good Dylan Raiola actually will be when they turn on the scoreboard.
Which is fair.
That if he's really, really good and you go, all right, let me do the math here. I would enroll early because he's an early enrollee, which adds a little bit to his recruitment.
Many do now, too. It's weird.
Well,
but I get it.
If I used to think that enjoying your last semester of your senior year of high school, where you go to prom, you do all those things. Now you can enroll early and still go back and go to prom, but you enjoy your last year because everybody's last semester of high school is, you don't hardly do anything. All right. You barely get up in the morning, and once you get to the school, you're ready to go home. But if you're playing sports, if you're playing
what we said.
Winter sports or spring sports, I get it. You want to finish with your classmates.
Yeah.
But nowadays, if you want to get a head start on learning how to be a student while also balancing being an athlete and thinking that I want to get on the field sooner than later, I'm enrolling early.
You have to.
It's now promoted. But if you're a quarterback, it's even more important to get in so that they can start working with you physically, mentally, and you get a spring football under your belt. So you're a half step ahead of either other players that are coming in, but you want all your quarterbacks together. So I'm okay with the early enrollees, and it's promoted, and I think it'll continue to be pretty heavy on people that show up. Now, there are some guys who are participating in sports that are good enough from the football IQ to the physical part that they could show up in June, and you're like, well, I think they might see the field, i.e. Carter Nelson, Caleb Benning, who both were involved in winter sports, and then Carter Nelson, of course, in track.
And they're both awfully good.
But the thing with Lateef is, if he says that, is it a surprise to Nebraska? Has there been a conversation where, hey, you're not doing what we asked, or they've got an inkling of, we are looking around? What's the adage? Not once you commit, you're ours, but don't commit to us if you're not all in on us. But even more so when you're a quarterback, because they go off the board early, that's the guy you want. I think there will be suitors for him. He's talented enough. He'll have a good senior season. There will be schools that will kick the tires. If by chance it became more of a, let's say Colorado, for example, who was recruiting him before he committed to Nebraska.
But he's in high school.
Let's say Colorado gets really, really involved. Does Nebraska put up a fight? That's where these questions of, okay, that comment in June makes sense because maybe there's something going on. But it may be, hey, I got some leverage here. I'm going to play the game, and I'm going to wait and see what kind of a quarterback they have at Nebraska. Because, again, I'm doing the math. All right, I'll enroll next year, so he'd be a sophomore, and then I'd redshirt, and then I would be a redshirt freshman, but that would be his junior year, and then I would be into my third year, and hopefully he leaves early. But what if he comes back for? But what if he's not everything we thought? And I might go, hey, I could slide right in there and play. So I think he's playing both sides of the fence. I would be curious in the recruiting office if they were like, yeah, his comment didn't surprise us. Because it seems like since the commitment, maybe things have been off a little bit. Or we've said, hey, we'd like to see you do this and you're not doing this. I don't know. There's always more to the story.
Go back to gimme guys who want to be here.
Or it's just somebody they like to be recruited more than they like to play.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty out there. Plenty of players that are out there that like to be recruited more than they like to play.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is him. He's a good quarterback. That's a good addition to Nebraska's recruiting class. But if there was pressure and there was a battle and there was maybe like, hey, Coach Rule, would Nebraska put up a fight to keep him, or they'd be like, hey, go ahead, man. You got to do what you got to do. Thanks. You know what? Go ball out, except when we're on the schedule against you guys, and we'll move on to the next one.
What'd you say a few months ago about playing the bounce back? So you got to add that to how you approach these things, because you may have to revisit that with them in a couple years, just based on a litany of things that can happen between now and then.
Through this whole...
So yes, what you said, that's what you tell them.
And Nebraska's in a rare situation where they have a quarterback like Raiola on their campus.
Which was the example.
Could be a 3-year starter.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a 4-year starter. Makes me appreciate what Ohio State's been able to do to keep their room together. They got a lot of dudes in that room that could go elsewhere, but they've been able to keep them together. Now, how long will they be able to keep them together? Because they got, you got guys that want to play, but they didn't have any defections. But if Nebraska in the recruiting of quarterbacks, and they have their guy, right now they still have their guy, how do you manage it with a guy that could be the guy in pads, in real game for the next 3 years? I'm on the committee of get a quarterback every year, but the portal's changed a little bit where you can get a portal for depth, because what you essentially need is depth. You need Danny Kalin to develop. You need Dylan Raiola to be Dylan Raiola, and then you need to get some depth in there, whether they be a portal that is not looking to play right away or is like understands the situation. They're like, yeah, I want to play, but I know what I'm up against, but I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ball out every day. And if things happen, they happen. Or in the situation of, you know what, if we don't get a guy in 25 and we like our guy that's currently playing football in 24, then we can start to play the game. And oh, by the way, his brother is out there in the class of 26. So right now, in a month where the recruiting news hasn't been fantastic, and there's been more than, hey, watch this one, but it may be I'm playing the game. And Nebraska may call his bluff. We'll see. But there are kids that like to be recruited more than they like to ball out. And those are the kind of guys that you don't want. But recruitment is, we won't speak on that. All right. And in the recruiting office in Lincoln, they went, we need to call somebody. It's 26 past the hour, 30 minutes away from Jake Eisenberg. Brandon Vogel will join us a little bit later. Nick brought up to Andy Kendi yesterday about media days, which now less than 4 weeks away in Indianapolis. I think I've narrowed down who Nebraska should take to media days. They haven't announced, the league hasn't announced who will be going. I think Nebraska's answer trio is pretty simple. If you get what this season is going to be about, we'll dive into that here in just a little bit. Plus more tweets and emails. You can always email the show, Gary at 1620thezone.com, or at Gary Sharp 1620 on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I read a book about the idea of aliens being a thing. What is that, a new concept? Someone writing about aliens? No. It talked about if we're going to find aliens, how we hope to find them. Boy, that sounds like a really exciting book. It was a great book. I ripped right through it.
Sean, this is why you don't have fun. You don't allow yourself to wonder.
I wonder all the time. I wonder how I've made it this long being next to you two.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Rain and storms move out with decreasing clouds throughout the morning. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny, seasonally warm with a high of 87 and breezy with northeasterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Minor flooding is currently occurring along the Missouri River at Omaha. The river is still expected to crest now late Thursday at 35 feet with moderate flooding forecast. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. An accident reported I-680 northbound at Pacific Street. This has the right center lane blocked and traffic backed up to I-80 East. And still seeing delays from that earlier crash, 120th and Dodge westbound back to 108th Avenue. Slow on Dodge eastbound right now between 180th and 120th. I-80 eastbound slowing down a bit between 84th and 72nd. And that JFK northbound morning traffic slow between Chandler and I-80. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
We are excited to announce the grand opening of Saul's Jewelry and Loan's new downtown location. It's a Saul's shopping experience like you've never seen. Amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices. Tools, bikes, guitars. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
The Nebraska Lottery presents 5 reasons the dollar bill is so great. First, it's always there when you need it. You can always find one folded up in your pocket just waiting to get you out of a jam. Second, it's humble. It doesn't strut around like a 50 or 100 waiting for people to compliment it. Third, it works hard. Whether you need more money for a tip or extra detergent at the laundromat, a dollar bill sure comes in handy. Fourth, it beats lugging around 100 pennies. And fifth, you can use it to buy a Lotto America ticket from the Nebraska Lottery. Lotto America only costs $1. It has a $2 million starting jackpot with drawings every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And you can add the All-Star bonus for an additional $1 to multiply any prize won. So visit a Nebraska Lottery retailer today and buy a Lotto America ticket. Sounds like someone tried to pay with 100 pennies. So sad.
Lotto America top prize odds, 1 in 26 million.
When it comes to concrete repair, Everlevel has some serious game. Coach Greg McDermott here to coach you on why you should choose Everlevel Concrete Repair. They've got the fundamentals to fix your cracked and uneven concrete, and their products will give you the best defense against future damage. It's a fraction of the price compared to replacement, and their solutions come with a long-term transferable warranty. Working with Everlevel is a slam dunk. Call Everlevel Concrete Repair today for your free inspection.
Fellow Nebraskans, we need your help getting signatures to finally legalize medical marijuana. We only have 3 weeks left. Get to our state's best liquor stores, wine, beer, and spirits today and sign. Support us at nmm2024.org to make donations. Let's go.
Bellino Fireworks, a Metro tradition for more than 35 years. Bellino Fireworks has quality products for the best prices with a 100% product guarantee. More than 50 locations in the Omaha Council Bluffs area, as well as locations in Plattsmouth, Blair, and Fremont. Bellino Fireworks offers the best selection of products in the Midwest. Cakes, artillery shells, and family-friendly products for all ages. There's no need to go anywhere else. Look for their signature inflatables or Bellino flags. Visit BellinoFireworks.com for a full list of locations.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
We're talking a lot about Jim Schlossnagle's move from Texas A&M to Texas and the rest of college athletics in terms of coaching and moves and taking jobs and loyalty and all of that. I can't get over the feeling of you're in the dugout, big Saturday night in the regional, and the team that you're playing.
You know already.
Yeah, that's the team that you're going to be coaching. So Kendall Rogers is tweeted out yesterday that this would deal, and this is probably happens more than you would think. Deals are getting done before your season is over where you're at. That this was a deal that was done before the end of the regular season. Great relationship. Jim Schlossnagle used to work with Chris Del Conte. Relationships with AD go a long way in your happiness. Yep. Just like all of our bosses, like our relationship with our PD, our general manager. They go a long way in your happiness. And if you had a relationship with an athletic director, either at your current place or somewhere else, and you like that relationship and you circle back around, it's a small world, that's a big, big deal. I think that's probably near the top. Man, I get to go work for that guy. I know that guy. The guy that I'm working for now just got here. I don't know him.
Oh, it's everything.
And I mean, look, it's the power of not only making the right hire when it comes to your sport, because Trev may be against big contracts and spending a lot of money. In this case, he's going to be forced to, because Texas A&M has to swing for the fences, and they should be able to attract a really, really good head coach who will also be paid a handsome salary, because that's what Schlossnagle was. It's what the job demands. But it's, the relationship is a big deal. But there's the important part of, and we're finding this out here, because we've gone through a stretch of some just not fit hires in the power chair in Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Is the hiring of the athletic director matters. Getting it right. You know, if you're winning, you can ignore your athletic director and you're like, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. I don't know him. He didn't hire me. We don't have a great relationship.
But we're winning.
Mm-hmm. But if you're just middling along and you have no relationship with your athletic director, it's got to be miserable.
Yeah. It'll determine everything. I mean, you talk about that, who you work for. Yes, pay is important, but who you work for will change everything. We see it all the time in college athletics. It's no different with us. If my best friend called me today to come work for them, I'd be gone in a heartbeat. Now, she's a 15-and-a-half-year-old dog, so I don't think she's going to be calling me, but I get the idea.
Today is the NBA draft. Tonight, Baylor Shireman's phone could ring, and he could be selected. I have done the floor for him will be a great spot. The last pick of the first round to the Boston Celtics.
Baylor and Boston, if there's not a perfect city where he will become a cult hero and a great franchise, champions.
I would be very surprised if he makes it to tomorrow.
He'd be really lucky to go there.
But it would be an ideal situation. He wouldn't have to perform right away. Mm-mm. He would fit in well. Brad Stevens likes college guys, especially college guys that are catch and shoot, that also have good basketball IQ. Mm-hmm. He'd be on a defending champion. They would find a role for him.
Fantastic coaching.
He's got a head coach who is willing to work with college guys and rookies, mm-hmm. not destroy rookies like Tibbs, which there's a range of picks where the Knicks are, where Shireman could end up.
Nope.
Shireman could end up with Minnesota at 27.
That'd be great too. They're our team.
Now, there's another one where I think he's in the range of the last 4 or 5 picks of the first round. Utah picks at 29. That also seems like a good spot for him.
The jokes just write themselves. Sorry, the Spurs Jazz stuff never goes away. I'm excited though. You know what? If he goes to a place like Boston, he will have a 15-year career in the NBA. That's pretty damn cool. I'm not saying all years are going to be with Boston, but that's going to set his trajectory to have a really, really good career.
Well, I think
he is anyway.
Brad Stevens is a college guy.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Stevens understands the college basketball player and the role they still play.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody who plays the game like him, I think would be a really good fit. Missoula is a guy, if you look at what they do, and Shireman wouldn't be coming in and breaking up the starting five if he's picked by Boston.
Right.
They would carve out a role for him. Mm-hmm. And so that you can learn as a rookie. And so you don't get you don't get overwhelmed. And all of a sudden you're on a two-way, or you're playing for a coach that hates rookies. I mean,
Darko Milicic just
shook
right now.
Doug playing for Tibbs.
Yeah.
If you have to find the right spot. So I think the last 4, 5, 6 picks of that first round is where I think you'll see Baylor. Now, Trey is a different story. Trey will last until tomorrow. Could he go all of tomorrow not getting drafted? It would still be worth it, in my opinion. I don't see that. I think somebody will look at what his upside could be, and they would make a play on him. All of this said, are you ready for the NBA Summer League led by Bronny? Summer League will be popular around here. You get Baylor and Trey will play.
Yeah.
Basketball in July will be great because you have the Olympics going on. You got the equivalent of the Dream Team 2.0. You got K-State playing in the Olympics. Basketball is going to be huge in July. The Summer League, though, could be just dominated by one guy, and coverage will be dominated by one guy.
Yet he's not the best player.
No. So I've gone with the over. The prop on FanDuel for when Bronny James will be drafted is the 45th pick.
By LA?
No, you don't have to select a team.
Okay.
See, I still think that Zach Edey will go to the Lakers at 17. I think that'd be a good pickup for them.
I'd root for him. Apparently we have a mutual friend.
Or somebody would troll the Lakers and draft Bronny before the Lakers.
Trade him.
So the prop is pick number 45 plus 110. I have gone with the under. But will anybody on ESPN's coverage tell the truth about LeBron's son when it comes to playing in the NBA?
That would be a first.
That he is not ready to play in the NBA, and ask questions about what happened at USC. How come later in the year he didn't play as hard?
Yeah, where's Rick Barry when we need him? He used to tell it like it was.
Well, I would appreciate somebody being objective tonight. Tell the truth. Don't be a bootlicker.
That's why this isn't on Turner.
What do you think? LeBron's going to cut you off?
Yeah.
You probably weren't riding with him.
Yeah. He's almost done playing anyway. Go ahead, cut me off.
But just be prepared when you're watching a coverage night of a draft, which if you're not a Reed Shepherd, Castle, Klingon, like college guys that we recognize, then foreign guys you'll be like, that's not Wemby. You're going to get a lot of Bronny James on the NBA coverage tonight.
Nicholas Skeetishvili.
No, he will not be drafted as well.
Yeah. Spell that for $1.
Oh. It begins, 7:00 tonight?
I believe so. Yeah. One round. I'm in on it. Watch second round tomorrow. I like what they're doing. I'm not talking about the day. I know why they're doing it in the afternoon, but I like this. I think, will they make it a 2-day deal going forward just to split it up? Because that first round always takes a little bit longer. And it's getting really late, so they lose a lot of the East Coast viewers. But I'm interested, so I stay up every year. So what I'm saying is I'll be in a good mood tomorrow. Enjoy the first round. And
the Spurs have a pick?
They do. It's very early. Couldn't tell you who they're picking. Actually, I mean, it doesn't matter. What this is going to come down to, and you said this earlier, after those first few picks, there are dudes in there. It's going to come down to your ability to scout and then obviously develop. And this is where you're going to find out about front offices and how they've done their due diligence. And Spurs have a lot of draft picks over the next 10 years. So cautiously optimistic.
So this is, and a lot of the NBA draft is on upside. And because Pat sends his email in the EchoBank inbox about college basketball when it transitions to the NBA, and especially when it comes to the draft. because if we were going off the best player in college basketball last year, should be one of the top players taken in the NBA, which very rarely happens. It's a different game. Zach Edey is not waiting very long. If he's in the green room or he's up in Toronto.
Back in the day, it's what would have happened.
But Pat writes in, he said, good day, gentlemen. He sent this actually yesterday.
Pat.
The NBA GMs and presidents are bonkers. There is no reason why the National Player of the Year for not only this past year, but for the last 2 years in college basketball would not be picked in the top 1 to 3 picks in this year's NBA draft. He should 100% be picked number 1 overall immediately, bar none. Zach Edey from Purdue, if you have forgotten. The NBA really has a problem with allowing three-point shooting affecting their judgment of drafting players with at least 5 to 7 years within the top half in the first round of the NBA draft and the first round overall. Plus, Donovan Clingan is the second best big man in the draft from UConn and should be drafted within the top 3 to 10 picks, yet he's the first big man projected off the board. What wrong? When will GMs and presidents, CEOs change their train of thought?
Castle and Connect, first mock I brought up with the Spurs, so we know them.
Dalton Connect is probably going to go. He'll be a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
4 and 8.
Edey's situation is, what is the current? How do you play in the NBA?
Yeah.
And does Zach Edey fit?
Yeah. 30 years ago, yes, Edey is up there because why not?
30 years ago,
you went inside out.
30 years ago, and we saw both of them, and ironically, both lost in the state of Nebraska during the college basketball season. 30 years ago, where the big man doing big man stuff, and they are loved long time in the NBA. Which guy are you taking? The guy from Purdue or the guy from UConn? Because the guy from UConn in almost every mock draft is much higher than the guy from Purdue.
Damn, that's got to pick one though. If I have to pick one, reluctantly, I would try Edey because I have to think this was a different time. Think of the league that Zach Edey would have been. You can say the same for Clingan at 7'2", 282. But in that league, even the bad teams had dudes in the post. Everybody had a dude. And this is how I picture it being someone of the, how does insert big guy from now fare against Olajuwon? I'm talking prime Olajuwon, 95. Mm-hmm. I still have nightmares of watching. They were sweet moves. So David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, young Shaq. How do they fare against these guys? And that's kind of how, I don't know, I like to play that game because it was a different time. You did draft for the big guy first. That's why the year after Tim Duncan, the Clippers take Michael Olowokandi. There were other guys in that 98 draft, but they went with a 7'2" guy out of Pacific, and he was out of the league fairly quickly.
You understand pretty quickly in the NBA draft, there's a lot of, we're drafting because of upside.
Yep. Upside. You take a drink every time you hear that tonight, you'll puke.
Donovan Clingan is 20 years old. They're going to look at him at 7'2" and go, there is upside there. And then there are other things where,
and I like
you draft a guy because that's the way you play. Like, do you think Dalton Connect should be top 10 guy? The guy, there's a young Cody Williams who he's got upside. He's 6'7", 7'1" from Colorado.
Some have him going as high as 10 to Utah.
He battled some injuries, but he's going to be a lottery pick. So Clingan is 20. They look at upside compared to Edey, who is a little bit older. And, they look at his game. And even though he was the best player in college basketball and back-to-back, good touch around the rim, sets screens, improved in college defensively.
Which could actually set him apart to where, okay, we have a place for him.
But if I'm 7'4" and now I'm making the move to the NBA, now I'm going to get real technical with you. How do you move laterally?
You have to ask it.
Yeah.
And whichever one of these dudes moves better laterally is probably who gets picked.
And I think the case with him is, can he get back in transition?
Exactly.
In the up and down NBA. NBA doesn't walk the ball up the floor.
Not anymore.
And then if lateral quickness, which you can kind of hide in college, when a guy with a basketball turns the corner in college, he was better than most, so he could block the shot. In the NBA,
they pick you
he's
apart.
on an island.
Yep. They'll pick you apart. And that's everybody, every weakness. And you usually have to work within that.
But to Patrick's email, Zach Edey is rising.
I'm rooting for him. I hope he goes to the right place.
There is a prop out there on FanDuel that he could be just outside of the top 10. I still think he's 17 at the Lakers sounds like a good spot for him. But That's
which isn't bad.
The NBA looks at we look at college basketball to the NBA much different than an NBA exec looks. Like, unless they are a bona fide can't miss first round prospect, the best player in college basketball doesn't necessarily mean the number one player taken, because the top college basketball player that'll be off the board won't last very long. I think Houston will take Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard was good in moments at Kentucky, but they look at his upside on a guy that's 6'2" and can shoot like that, and what he'll do in the NBA.
See, the Pelicans is one potential. I forgot Furphy stayed in. That's a mistake. Dude needs some muscle. But I get it. It's potential. The argument to that is, okay, what if I blow out my knee next year in college? I can't judge that.
Well, and
it pays too well.
There's also the part of the college, the NBA, and analytics comes into play.
Kolek, I forgot
instead
about
of
Kolek.
just playing basketball. I mean, best thing that happened to Shireman is Shireman got to go play basketball, whether it be at the combine or in private workouts. Instead of analytics being thrown on him, and his analytics would still be very, very strong, he went and played basketball.
And what does we say? There's nothing that can make up for reps, and especially in this situation.
Well, and then age comes into play as well.
Oh, there we go. Lakers, 55.
You know, you're 23, 24 years old. They're not going to be as inclined to pick you. But if you're 19, 20, and you've at least shown something in the college game, like Castle will be a very popular pick. And I will be very curious to see what he could do. And he could go to your team. The Spurs could take him. I mean, he's 6'6". I mean, he's going to be off the board.
This one is
He's got size. He's got, he's a really good defender. I don't know if he's a point guard. I think he's more of a secondary playmaker.
Yeah, and what they need
but
is just
what he'll show in the NBA is more than he showed at his one and done at UConn.
Right. Defends at a high level, and that's what you need in there.
That's if you're ever on an NBA draft show, just say that.
I defend at a high level, and I have spurt ability. Oh, and wingspan. 6'1", but wingspan of 8'4".
Only, I don't know if he'll shoot the three ball very well. He wasn't a great 3-point shooter.
No. But then you draft Connect. There you go.
But in big games, I mean, he went 21 against Illinois, and then what do you have, 15 in the championship game?
Hey, winners.
He's a dude. He was.
Yeah.
When he got on the floor in the Big East this year, you recognized him. All right. Jake Eisenberg coming up here in a little bit. We've got a quick break. We'll come back to wrap up this hour on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
At Cox Mobile, we know you're smart. You brush your teeth in the shower to save time, make coffee ice cubes for your cold brew, and wear goggles to cut onions. You also added Cox Mobile. So smart. Now you're running on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability and saving on your Cox internet. It's ingenious, just like you.
Aw, thanks.
Cox Mobile, the smart way to mobile. Cox postpaid internet required. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. to H 2023. Other restrictions apply. Learn more at cox.com/mobile.
It's going to be another sizzling hot summer. Stay cool with 35% off new Champion windows. Don't burn your money on high energy bills. Get new energy efficient windows from Champion. 35% off. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. The more you buy, the more you save. We help you choose the best design options for your home. We then build your project in our very own factory. Our install team manages your project every step of the way, and it's all backed by our lifetime guarantee. Plus, we're giving away the chance to win a $50,000 home makeover. Enter online today. Turn your house into your dream home with more livable space in a new Champion sunroom, or enhance your curb appeal with new siding. Now 35% off. Don't wait. This sale won't last long. 35% off windows, sunrooms, and siding. Plus, get an extra $100 off every window you replace. Call 877-GO-CHAMPION or visit championsavenow.com to schedule a free in-home estimate today. All discounts apply to our regular prices. Select styles apply. Minimum purchase required. Cannot be combined with other advertised offers. See store or website for details.
Ah, the sweet feelings of summer. The kiss of warm sun on your skin. The softly scented breeze blowing through the trees. Don't worry, you have Off Clean Feel. fragrance-free mosquito repellent that feels good on skin, so even mosquitoes can't ruin those sweet feelings of summer. Off Clean Feel. Prevention is the best protection from mosquitoes.
Twisted Thunder Fireworks is going to save you big money. You'll find the best variety and the lowest prices in the entire state of Nebraska. Don't believe us? See page after page of products and pricing online at twistedthunder.com, where you can watch everything before you buy and choose local pickup so it's ready to go for you at the tent. Go to twistedthunder.com to check out all of our locations in Nebraska, as well as our location in Council Bluffs. That's twistedthunder.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/radio. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
What happened
I'm
there?
sorry, that was too
What's
soft.
happening?
That was too soft. I was like, no. I thought it was going to be something else, and suddenly it was the first dance at a wedding. So this is a little better.
Because this is a good summertime topic. Into the topic alert on trying to project which three players Nebraska will take to the Big Ten Media Days, which are now less than a month away. The league as a whole will announce all the participants at the same time. It is now a 3-day affair in Indianapolis. We're not sure what is going on in Indianapolis, but the hotel room rates are through the roof. They are College World Series in Omaha on steroids room rates. But Taylor Swift isn't playing. There's no NBA
swimming?
draft, no combine going on, nothing. Nobody can figure out like the media hotel for the Big Ten Media Days. I got a 3-day soiree, so you're probably there for 4. Is $400 a night.
Damn. So the zone will be Airbnb.
And I don't think it's not the Dub, which is, one of the main hotels in downtown Indianapolis. But with that said, Nick asked this question to Andy yesterday, and I thought about this. What if the 3 guys that went to Indianapolis were all defensive players? Nash Hutmacher.
First one.
Tommy Hill.
Good choice.
And Isaac Gifford. If you were going to take an offensive player, who would you take?
Damn. I don't want to say Dylan because that would be
you won't,
but do you
won't.
You can't.
I don't know.
You don't do that to fresh. So it has to be someone else.
Bryce Benhart, Ben Scott, Fedoni.
Fedoni was the first
I
one
suggest,
I thought of.
I don't know if there's a written rule that you have to have representation on both sides of the ball. Why not? You're talking about being the best defense in the country.
Take them.
Why not take, essentially, before the season starts, your top 3 players?
I'd be good with that.
If you go by some of the magazine's All-American teams, why not just take 3 defensive players? Nash Hutmacher, Tommy Hill, and Isaac Gifford. I mean, all 3 deserve to go. If you're going to tell the story of Nebraska in 2024, you can't tell the story without those 3.
There's your answer.
Mm-hmm. Our answer to many questions about what's going on with the Royals. They've lost 12-16. They try and win the series today at the K. First pitch, 110. You'll hear the next guy on this air in the next segment. You'll hear him over on 1180 later today with the Royals and the Marlins. Jake Eisenberg joins us next to kick off the last hour of Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio. This is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Pyramid Roofing Time-Saving Traffic Center. An accident reported I-80 eastbound at L Street, and 2 earlier accidents still causing delays. 120th and Dodge backed up to 108th Avenue, and I-680 northbound at Pacific backed up right now. And that Dodge eastbound traffic slowing down between 137th and 129th. Give yourself a little bit of extra time this morning. Still a lot of traffic lights down from the weather last night. Stay safe and wear that seatbelt. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'm Peter Krenzer.
This time-saving traffic is brought to you by Modern Real Estate.
Introducing Modern Real Estate, the game changer in Nebraska's property market. With a competitive 2% commission rate, we're making buying, selling, and investing more affordable and transparent than ever. Visit modernrealestateco.com and experience the future of real estate today.
It's easy to see the common signs of transmission trouble.
If your engine revs before it falls into gear. If it seems to switch gears for no reason. So watch for the signs. Certified transmission, the job done right at the right price.
The Stormcast is the official podcast of the Omaha Storm Chasers, hosted by Nick Batters, the play-by-play voice of the Storm Chasers. Every episode features special guests, including past and present players and coaches, media members, and front office personnel. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
At Athletico Physical Therapy, our favorite patients are the impatient ones, the ones who don't want to wait 3 months to see a specialist or wait until that little pain becomes a big one, the ones who know that Athletico's therapists can help them take the recovery into their own hands. Our favorite patients are the ones who just can't and won't wait because they don't have to. So get a little impatient and start with physical therapy at Athletico. With no prescription needed in most states to get started, you'll be right back at it in no time. Schedule your free assessment at athletico.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members, FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Despite overwhelming support from Democrats and Republicans, time is running out for Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act, which will keep AM radio in cars. Text AM to 52886 and ask Congress to bring this bill to a vote now. AM radio is too important to let this moment pass us by. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Going fishing? I thought so. For proper catch and release fishing this season to ensure fish survival, I want you to remember these important things. Land the fish as quickly as possible. Handle the fish as little as possible. Keep the fish in the water as much as possible. And release the fish as fast as possible. Enjoy your fishing experience. I'm Greg Wagner.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no service fees. Shop ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, coming up this afternoon, the final game of the series between the Marlins and the Royals at the K. You'll hear it over on 1180, first pitch 110. Our friend, your friend, the voice of the Kansas City Royals, your friend while you're traveling the highways and byways in the spring and summer is Jake Eisenberg on his way to the K. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. I'm doing good. Yeah, on my way to the ballpark for a day game after the night game. And just a little disclaimer, I take no credit nor the opposite of whatever credit is for any road issues while people are tuning in.
All right.
I don't want to be saddled with any of that.
Hey, Hey, so let's do a little in the life of Jake. So last night, dropped a 2-1 game to the Marlins. You do all the stuff you got to do on the post game, and then get out of there, get home, get up. What is a typical day in the life of a home game like for you? Because away from the ballpark, you're also a family man with your lovely bride.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was talking to Ryan with people about this exact thing yesterday, and we were looking at each other, and I said, every day in baseball is kind of abnormal, but this week kind of feels abnormally abnormal, doesn't it? And he laughed and agreed, and that's kind of the way this week has been. There's a bunch of stuff going on at the ballpark with the Hall of Fame induction weekend of Cedric Callis and John Sherholt and Bo Jackson this weekend, so there's some extra special events that are going on that make it abnormally abnormal. And there is no real true day in the life. I mean, I can tell you that I got home at about 11 o'clock last night, had a snack, showered, watched the newest episode of The Acolyte, which was pretty good, did some work, probably got to sleep around 1:30, 2 o'clock, got up about 45 minutes ago, had some breakfast, had some coffee, and now I'm headed to the ballpark. That's the boring last 12 hours for me.
There's one other thing that you do, and people that were introduced to you when you joined the Storm Chasers, you're one of the rare broadcasters that are active on social media and use social media really as a great platform to teach, to interact, to promote. There are, in your generation of younger, extremely talented broadcasters that have embraced social media. How has social media enhanced what you do on a nightly basis?
Well, I think that, at least for my generation, I mean, I grew up with social media. It was something that was present from when I was in middle school and on. And so I don't really know I don't know consciously what sports coverage is like without it. At the same time, I have an understanding of what it used to be. And what it used to be was that the only conduit between me as a broadcaster and the audience that we're lucky enough to have was the radio broadcast or an event that we do around town. And so what social media allows, whether it's Twitter or Instagram or whatever, it allows for another avenue to have a conversation with the people that are tuning into the games, the people that are watching these games, that are fans of these games, which is why we have jobs to begin with. And I think it just creates a really cool atmosphere and a really cool way to connect with people that you otherwise wouldn't get to. I mean, the radio broadcast, as amazing as it is when people tune in, it's a one-way street. We can't talk to any of our listeners while they're tuning into a game, but every now and again, if I have the time to take a look at Twitter or see what's going on, I can respond to somebody who might have a funny comment or someone who's listening from somewhere doing something and just have that extra little bit of connection with the people that are listening, which I really enjoy. I think it's really special that people are tuning in and want to connect in the ways that they do. And as far as educating, I think it's a good avenue to share an interesting statistic here or an interesting story there. It's just another way to get some information across to help elevate what we do and educate people and maybe inform people and maybe, as was the case yesterday, try to give people a little bit of perspective. I shared something last night, now 81 games through the season. I shared, what the Royals are on pace for in terms of record, which is 86 and 76, which would be a 30-win improvement from last year. And it was interesting because some of the responses were, oh, that pace has gone down precipitously over the last couple of weeks. And some responses were, thanks for the perspective. It's good to realize that we're so far ahead of where we were. Like, I definitely would have signed up for this last year. And I think everyone's going to come at it with varying degrees of whatever. But it was an interesting barometer of, I think, where some of the fan base is.
Jake Eisenberg from the Kansas City Royals joining us. Royals and the Marlins at 1:10 today at the K. The other thing, for people that know you, and definitely it comes across in your presentation, and I've seen it firsthand, you are very meticulous. You do great preparation. You talk to the people that are involved, and then you like to educate. I think that's a great word. But you sit on a nightly basis next to a legend, a Hall of Famer, who, when he was coming up, there was no computer next to you. There was no such thing as TrackMan. Jake, how do you balance the older listener and the younger listener, and what you like when you bring in the TrackMan and the analytics into a radio broadcast?
That's a great question. So, I mean, Denny still does not have a computer in front of him. There is no form of technology in front of him, save for I think like an iPhone 8. That his ringtone is a choo-choo train, which is pretty great. He's a big fan of trains. Anyway, so like every now and again he'll ask me to, and this is a joke, tongue in cheek. He'll say, "Hey, can you gargle that?" Obviously meaning like look something up on the internet. And I think we have a very unique balance across our booth, not just radio, but TV too. Denny got this job in '69 when he was 26 years old. Ryan joined the Royals when he was, I think, 28 in 1999. And I got this job, when I was hired, I was 27. My first season last year, I was 28. So we've all kind of joined the Royals at the same patch of our lives, but it's created these three distinct generations of voices that we have on our air. And that's not to exclude Steve Stewart, who I think just turned 60. So he's right there in the middle of it too. And I think that allows us to have the perspective of three different generations of baseball fans and have that balance. And, I understand that if I'm going to talk about spin rates and exit velocities and, other sabermetric stats that, don't show up in the newspaper in 1970, we're talking more than just runs, hit, errors. And, I'm not talking about pitcher wins and losses the same way that Denny might, but his perspective is important. We can have a conversation about Steve Busby's dominance in the 1970s and compare that to what Cole Reagan's did in August of last year. How they're both pitchers of the month, but they've both done it in incredibly different ways. How Buzz was throwing 5 complete games and one of them was like 13 innings. I mean, that's ridiculous stuff. And then yesterday, sitting with Denny and talking to him a little bit, in preparation for this weekend about Cedric Callis and John Sherholtz and, what he experienced as the broadcaster when they were the GMs. And then his experience when Bo Jackson was a player, which preceded both me and Ryan. And we can read all we want. We can watch all we want. We can see the Bo Jackson documentary, but he was there. He lived it. He called it. And that is such a cool thing for us to be able to continue to draw on and talk about, during a game, after a game, and just have that perspective. So I think we do a really good job blending all of those different approaches to enjoying baseball.
A little bit of a lull on the field. The playing the Dodgers and the Rangers and the schedule was a little bit difficult, but a little bit of a lull. How did the Royals get into this? And Jake, how do they get out of it with the Guardians ahead this weekend?
Yeah, they came out of a stretch of 4 straight series against first place teams, 5-7, which I think, frankly, you would have taken. That was the Guardians, Mariners, Yankees, and Dodgers. And they came out of that 5-7. And then, went to Oakland, went to Texas, and the results were not what anybody was hoping or expecting. And look, as Vinny Pasquantino said yesterday, yeah, we sucked. The road trip sucked. And I think everyone realizes that. I also think that, outside of the truly great, run away with the division World Series contender teams, just about every team in baseball at one point or another is going to go through a stretch like this. And the thing that separates the good teams from the great teams and the pretenders from the contenders is the ability to not let a stretch like this define your season or derail your season. And I think that talking to General Manager JJ Picollo the other day, his conversations with guys in the clubhouse, he's very confident that this is just a lull that teams are going to experience at some point of the year. And frankly, you'd rather it happen before the All-Star break than after the All-Star break. I think that the Royals are positioned where, the offense has struggled, but we've also seen what the offense is capable of. So this last couple of weeks is not necessarily indicative of what the offense is. It's just what the offense is right now. I think that you can rest your cap on the fact that the starting pitching has been really good and really consistent. And it's pretty rare to see a team with good and consistent starting pitching flounder for a prolonged stretch. If Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo are doing what they're doing, and that doesn't exclude Waka, Singer, and Marsh, you're going to win more games than you lose, generally speaking. That just hasn't been the case because the offense hasn't supported it, and the bullpen has been, frankly, too shaky, but that's something that we've known for a while now. It'll be very interesting to see what the Royals do at the deadline. JJ Picollo has been steadfast in saying that the Royals will not be sellers. They will be aggressive at the deadline. They're going to add in the areas that are obvious weaknesses, which is the bullpen, which is looking for a bat to lengthen the lineup. To what degree those moves are made and what they might give up in those deals, that remains to be seen. But JJ said the other day, I think if you'd told us in February where we'd be right now, I think we'd sign on the dotted line and we'd take that. And I think that's an important perspective to have again, this is a Royals team that is 43-38, on pace to finish 86-76. I think if you told anybody that in February, they'd be like, yes, please, I'll sign it above 500, 86 wins. That might be enough to win the division. I don't think anyone saw the Guardians being as good as they've been. I mean, the Twins were projected to win the division with 85 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, Gary. So I think that there's an importance for some perspective, though there is an understanding of like, yeah, the Royals are not playing to the level that they have played at to begin the season. And I think that's why it feels as though this is the lull that it is, because you see what they're capable of and you know that it can be better, and you know that this team has a chance to go to the playoffs, and you just want that to happen so badly. And it still could happen and should happen. And I think this is just a blip during a 162-game season.
Great. It's and I'm glad you bring some perspective, because it is a marathon, not a sprint. Cleveland is in town beginning on Thursday night for 4. They got the best record in baseball at 51-26. So 4 guys, I think minimum, are going to go to Arlington for the All-Star game. Salvador Perez, Bobby is going to go. Cole Reagans, and then I think Seth Lugo, Jake, has to be there. But can you kind of describe? I mean, he's become a machine. His curveball was wicked last night, but we kind of saw Reagans last year, and he had a fantastic start on Monday night. But what are we in the middle of with Seth Lugo here?
Well, first off, I think it's pretty cool that Reagans and Lugo have done what they've done in almost completely different ways. I think Reagans you would describe as a power pitcher. I think Lugo, I like to describe him as a craftsman. That's what we see. We see a pitcher's pitcher. I mean, his game planning is meticulous, and he knows it like the back of his hand. Like, you know, when you were in school, college, high school, whatever, and you'd go into a test and you'd know every answer to that test cold. You'd finish in like, I don't know, 10 minutes, turn the paper over, and everyone else is looking around going like, what the heck just happened? That's Seth Lugo, because he's got binders and heat maps and charts, and he knows exactly what pitch he's going to throw in every situation, and he has the ability to execute it. And he also throws like 8 different pitches. And it is just so much fun to watch him solve the puzzle of every game, and then solve the puzzle of the game within the game. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing him solve every single puzzle pretty much every single night. And I think he's doing it faster than just about any pitcher because of his tempo. I mean, with runners in scoring position, nobody throws pitches more rapidly than Seth Lugo. He's also one of the best at limiting with runners in scoring position. I don't know if there's a direct correlation there, but I can't help but think that there isn't. And I'll say this. I think that after getting, some job stability, I mean, think about it from Seth Lugo's perspective. This guy was a career reliever with the Mets, one of the harshest markets, if you will, even though that's not something I personally put a ton of stock into. Maybe it's because I grew up there. But, he's a reliever in a bullpen that has a lot of churn and a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure. And so he's fighting for a spot in the bullpen with just about every outing. And then he goes to San Diego, where he has to prove that he's capable of being a starter. And by golly, he proved it. And he got the contract. He got the 2-year contract with a player option. And now he has job stability. He has a spot in the rotation. He has a spot in this clubhouse and on this staff that is locked up and secured. And so it's less about results. It's less about trying to prove it. And now it's just about having fun and doing it. And I think that even though that's not something I think he would say is a big contributor, I think just as humans, you understand when you're comfortable and stable, you have the ability to do things in a way that you might not have been able to do them before. And I think that's contributed mightily to his ability to go out there and get outs efficiently and solve every puzzle every night and just be the craftsman that we've come to understand and be. It has been really a joy to watch him and also to talk to him and learn from him and get his perspective on stuff.
Fantastic. I always enjoy the conversation and your contributions here to 1620. Have a great call this afternoon.
I appreciate it, Gary. Always good to talk to you. Best to everybody in Omaha. And a belated congratulations and shout out on winning the first half. That's a pretty incredible achievement. Yep. I know the AAA hasn't had first half, second half in a while, but I've been in minor leagues where that's existed. That is no small thing. And the fact that they're going to get to host some playoff games come September, that is really, really cool. And I hope they're getting the support that they deserve.
Yep. They've been a fun team to watch. Thanks, Jake.
Take care.
That's Jake Eisenberg, voice of the Kansas City Royals. He is giving you a life lesson on a nightly basis. I've gotten to know Jake when he first started here with the Storm Chasers. Fantastic. It was a great hire. But it is, I always seem to get a smirk when I listen to him and Denny get into these conversations about either past baseball or the way baseball is being played now. They are perfect for each other in the booth.
When I listen to Jake here, but also during games, I can't help somebody. I was very close to the late, great Fred White, and Fred would love Jake if he could look down and listen to him today.
Forgot to ask Jake. I'm not sure how they do their rotation on TV. I mean, Jake does what, about 20 TV games a year when Ryan will take a day off, or Ryan will go over and do radio with Denny?
Yeah, or Denny takes his vacations or takes his trips off.
How long has it been since Denny stopped doing road games? About 7-8 years?
Let's see. He was
Physiok and Stewart. Yeah. That's when Steve Stewart got hired?
Yeah, and Denny would only make a few road trips for as long as I could remember before. And see, I've worked at a lot of Royals affiliates over the years, so yeah, there would be those East Coast road trips where, been to Yankee Stadium before. Old one was better.
That would probably not surprise me for something like that to come up.
Going further east in St. Louis.
You can hear Jake and Denny today over on 1180, the Royals game on with the Marlins.
By the pool.
1:10 first pitch. What do they go on the air? 12:40 was it? 30-minute?
12:40, 12:30.
30-minute pregame show. But the Royals have the Guardians are at the K beginning on Thursday night for 4. And while the Royals bullpen hasn't been very good, they didn't lose last night because of bullpen. They lost last night because I couldn't pick up a ground ball. The Cleveland bullpen has been lights out. Not just Jose Ramirez, and a lineup which, unless you're related to a brother like the Nailers, you might and you don't know. And Jose Ramirez is the only guy you could pick off that roster. What Cleveland is doing is unbelievable. 25 games above 500. They got the best record in baseball. And remember, they lost their ace. Terry Francona is not managing there anymore.
Neither is Mike Hargrove.
No, he is not. But the Guardians and the Royals for 4 beginning tomorrow. But the Royals and the Marlins wrap up their series today. All right, 9:19, Brandon Vogel around the corner. When we come back, so EA Sports is about to put out a new trailer. Plus, they will do another list today. Yesterday's list triggered some people, but it shouldn't have, on the toughest places to play. Today, they are going to do the top 25 sights and sounds of college football. Now, Memorial Stadium in Lincoln should be on there. It will be on there. It was appropriately left off yesterday. I'll tell you why when we come back on Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy in 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Previously on The Crossover.
I opened up my fortune cookie last night, and on the front it says, here you can download a bunch of music. And then on the back, there's a QR code for Napster.
Yeah, fortune cookies used to be fun, whimsical. At the end of your chicken fried rice, you're like, boop, boop, boop.
Boop, boop, boop. That's exactly what I did
we
last
had Chinese
night.
the other night. I don't think we ever got fortune cookies.
Even worse.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 6A to 6P. 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Funplex Water Park and Rides. From the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Rain and storms move out with decreasing clouds throughout the morning. For your Wednesday, mostly sunny, seasonally warm with a high of 87 and breezy with northeasterly gusts possible up to 20 miles an hour. Minor flooding is currently occurring along the Missouri River at Omaha. The river is still expected to crest now late Thursday at 35 feet with moderate flooding forecast. I'm meteorologist Caitlin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Are Nebraska craft beers and ciders important to you? Whether you just love Nebraska brewed beers and ciders or you're a full-fledged craft brewery, there are benefits to membership for anyone with the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild. Their sole mission is to foster and help grow the Nebraska-centric brewing community. Become a member today at nebraska.beer and help advance the craft beer and cider industry in the state of Nebraska. Find out more about the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild at nebraska.beer.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Hop into the driver's seat of a new Ford truck or SUV now at Baxter Ford. Choose from hundreds of new Ford F-150s, F-150 Lightnings, F-250s, and F-350s. Baxter Ford has over 250 new SUV models available, including Bronco, Bronco Sport, Escape, Edge, Explorer, Expedition, and more. Plus, all our vehicles come with fair, transparent pricing and no dealer fees. So you only pay for the vehicle, not the paperwork. Get started at BaxterFord.com.
We're excited to announce the grand opening. It's a Saul shopping experience like you've never seen in this beautiful, historic location. And of course, we brought in tons of new inventory, amazing jewelry finds at our famous best in town prices, motorcycles, tools, bikes, guitars. And as always, get a cash on the spot loan from $10,000 to $50,000. Everything you've come to expect from Saul's in our new location. 22nd and Hardy, downtown Omaha, Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
The light is fading, your hands are sore, and the last tool has been put away. Now is the time to feel the satisfaction that comes with a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels a little different. Your wallet. Because we believe that everyone deserves hardworking tools at hardworking prices. And that's what we have here. So, whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
You know what this music used to mean? Your cartoon time is over. Daddy wants to watch baseball. Sit down and watch it with him.
Brandon Vogel from Handley.com is coming up in a little bit. Monday Night Baseball. I am so glad you appealed to our 80 and over audience. You've got an old soul. Rain Man who recalls everything.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Joe Garagiola. I know he wasn't on ABC, but he was a great baseball man.
I will say it has warmed my cockles on my TikTok the last few weeks. Baseball Bunch, which I used to watch as a kid with Johnny Bench and the famous Chicken and all of his guests, is showing up more on TikTok and also on Twitter. So there's a Twitter account called Baseball Smile, and it is has a lot of Baseball Bunch. Baseball Bunch would come on I think at 10 a.m. on Channel 5 when I was a little kid. And then you'd have to flip over because NBC would have a little pregame show at noon, and at 12:20, then they would have first pitch of the NBC Game of the Week with Tony Kubik.
Yeah.
Will be there. Bob Costas.
They did that 84, the Ryan Sandberg game.
Which they celebrated the 40th anniversary on Sunday. Memorial Stadium was standing back then. This was my transition.
I love it.
So EA Sports came out yesterday with the top 25 toughest to play. I got some issues, and they were aplenty. I think what they should have done different, and again, they're releasing another list today that is the sights and sounds of college football. So Memorial Stadium will be on there. What they should have done, and this is how I look at, if you know what makes an intimidating home atmosphere? If the home team is winning. If the home team is good. Okay, they punch you in the mouth and then the stadium eats you up. A la, let's look at the 90s.
Yes.
But Nebraska has not been good on their home field. You want to show me that Nebraska football is back. They are winning at home. They are beating Georgia Southern. They are beating Wisconsin and Iowa. But when you have a subpar record at home, there's something wrong in Denmark, and in this case, in Lincoln. But an intimidating home field atmosphere starts with if the team is good. But Michigan State is on this list, and I'm like, I've been there. Not the toughest place to play. What they should do is atmospheres that you have to see that are on your bucket list.
Yes.
I would say Memorial Stadium in Lincoln is in the top 25 of places in college football you have to see. The Sea of Red. I don't know if the tunnel walk still resonates, but the sea of red, and it red everywhere, is a got to see. Like Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech probably, when Virginia Tech is good, Lane Stadium's rocking. That's a tough home field advantage. But the entrance to a Virginia Tech game with Sandman makes it a got to see. I got to see a game in the Horseshoe in Columbus. Great atmosphere. All the pageantry, Script, Ohio, and a really, really good team. Been there, got to see it. Go to a game at LSU, preferably at night. Got to see it. Why is LSU one of the toughest places to play? Because the team on the field is pretty good. I've been to Bryant-Denny. Bryant-Denny is okay.
The team's more intimidating.
The team is more intimidating. Yeah, you're right. The team's more intimidating than the crowd.
Saban was more intimidating.
Toughest
Same
place,
in Texas. That's
toughest
not
place to play usually starts if the team is good.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a prerequisite.
I've contended for a long time that Memorial Stadium is really a cool place to play if you're an opponent. People are nice.
Yeah.
You know, you're walking on the field and they say, hey, have a good game. Good luck. What other places do that? It's a very, very nice place.
Most places.
I mean, until
wish you the
recently, it was, you know, you clap for the opposing team coming off the field. After you kick their ass by 55, you're like, hey, good job.
Yeah.
Or even if they won and it's Northern Illinois and they've taken every picture imaginable on the field with the scoreboard in the background, including a team picture, they're coming off the field and fans are waited so they could way too nice. There's the other part of Memorial Stadium, and there's a lot to this that we have talked so much about: students, game presentation, music, all of that stuff, who they are appeasing. Are they working on the longtime fan, or are they trying to make it hip where they're attracting the younger fan? Two things, and I got involved in a discussion yesterday, and these are good discussions, because that's people's experience. And the experience at Memorial Stadium needs to be better. Even if the team playing there gets better at playing at home, the just experience of going to a game where it becomes a priority again needs to be better.
Look at this way. The experience is great, then the game starts.
And the experience in the stadium
lately
isn't the greatest. You're uncomfortable. They try and balance appeasing the fans and the corporate in all the different elements that have to be worked in. Two things. We know that a night game in September of this year is going to be crazy. People are going to be lit. The stadium's going to be rocking. The opponent has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, UNI's tough. I think that's a night game.
Well played. Here's another sign that Nebraska football is on the comeback trail. It's regardless of opponent, it's a great place to go to a game. We talked a lot about Colorado. Oh, man, that's going to be like 14 Miami. I will tell you, an atmosphere that gets overlooked, and Nebraska lost the game, and it wasn't a rowdy, but in terms of a vibe and a buzz and an intensity, the Michigan game in 21 should be right up there. It wasn't, I friggin' hate those guys. Screw you. If there wasn't a fence between me and you on the sideline, I'd be after you. The Michigan game in 21 is one of the better atmospheres in that stadium that I've been to. And yes, I would include the uses of the Colorado stretch, the Miami game, those kind of games.
Some of the ones you saw firsthand, yeah.
But how come people are not, and this goes to Memorial Stadium's a gotta see, great environment, regardless of opponent. Why aren't people going, man, I can't wait for that UTEP game? Opening game of the season, tons of optimism. Dylan Raiola making his first start. No one is saying, man, I can't wait that UTEP game. That's going to be crazy in the stadium. Now fast forward to week number 2. So once you get to winning, the perception of Memorial Stadium changes. You win, oh man, it's got to be a tough place to play. Yeah, it's a tough place to play because the team that plays there is really good. Okay, and they're winning whether they're in Lincoln or whether they're in Madison, Iowa City, Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Seattle, Eugene, wherever. But one thing they do have to do this year, and I will be curious if, because they have gotten a lot of feedback, if they have fixed the timing for the tunnel walk. I had great discussion. I'm going to give him some credit here because he was pretty passionate about this. Mike. So Mike wanted to, I think, just let out some steam about Memorial Stadium, about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And his big thing is the tunnel walk. And so let me just read this. He goes, I was of the age, and I was a little bit younger when the tunnel walk debuted. I thought it was great. I'm now older. He goes, I'm about 30 years older from when it debuted. So he goes, I am in my mid-50s. He goes, I think the tunnel walk is not very good. So we went back and forth. And he's right. The tunnel walk has changed. One, this past year was not very good because of the timing.
Mm-hmm.
The timing was completely off. The locker room is a little bit further away. How do they do out the timing so that when the crescendo happens, it's time to run on the field? I think they should do away with the gates. I think they should do away with the gates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So when the team is coming down the tunnel and people in the stadium can see the players there, it gets louder and louder and louder. They have to fix that because it's losing its
because it's been goosebump inducing in the past. When we were home last month, I told people you gotta watch a game in Lincoln, Nebraska.
There's another part that I
love football.
I put on my game ops marketing hat that I used to have permanently on my head, and then the watching it from the Nebraska perspective. There's also something with the tunnel walk that it used to be when guys like hit the moment where fans could see them, they were bouncing off the wall. Now it doesn't.
And so are you in the stands.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that. Like from the player's perspective, like just this is it. This is what we worked for. Boom, I'm on the field. I'm going absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they open up the gates. The guys are there, and boom, they run on the field. And then we play football instead of what it was like in the past. And I don't know what that's attributed to. But first and foremost, with whatever video they choose to go with Sirius, they have to fix the timing. It just goes too long. It's just play the video, play the music, boom, you see the team, and within seconds, they're ready to run on the field. They run on the field, place is going nuts. Here we go, kickoff. Then it's on you as the team to do whatever.
Yeah.
Kyle tweets in, not to be a hater, and it goes with winning, but Memorial disappointed a bit when I was there for the Wisconsin-Nebraska game in 19. I'm sure it's a bit different now, but very apathetic fans win, and it sold out, was probably 3/4 full the whole game. Another thing is, stadium is very rarely full.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Keep referencing the Michigan game in 21. There was a vibe in the city, like that's the game.
Something could be happening.
It's Michigan. It's Harbaugh. It's a night game. The place was packed. It was a tough ticket to get.
Mm-hmm.
The atmosphere was great. Like people were into the game from start to finish, and especially when some things didn't go Nebraska's way. It
was a fun game. I remember watching on TV.
These are some will roll their eyes, and Ted is already like, I hate this conversation because we never have solutions. Well, true, but if that's a priority for you, you're wondering why do the students get more credit than they deserve? 17,000 students don't do their part at a Nebraska football game.
It's everybody else who
I would say half the student. We could cut down half the students and get the same result.
Mm-hmm.
There's the band, there's the music, all of this stuff that goes into play. But circling back to this list that was released yesterday, it's not a tough place to play because you're not winning.
Mm-hmm.
When you're winning, it's a tough place to play. And it becomes a priority, and people go to the games, regardless of opponent. And they're loud and they're involved regardless of opponent. They don't wait for week 2 against Colorado. They're like, I haven't seen Nebraska football play in a long time. We're playing UTEP.
Yeah.
I got year number 2. I'm super optimistic. It's all great. I got this new quarterback. I can't wait for that game. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah. Back in the day, it was, F Pacific. I don't even like the ocean. Hope we can score 80.
You also knew when you walked into that stadium that you were going to beat them out of. And
Versus said it.
And you as a fan were like, you know what? The guys in the helmets on the field, they're going to throw the first punch, and then we're going to finish them off as a fan base because we're going to be absolutely out of our mind.
And they're already terrified. Look at them. They want no part of that.
I mean, we've talked to We've talked to people at Big Ten Media Days and playing in Lincoln. If there's somebody that's played a game or two in Lincoln, we'll ask them about it. And a lot of them will say it's pretty cool because of how tall it is. Like when you walk into the field as an opposing player and you got to look all the way up. I mean, Dylan Gabriel talked about Memorial Stadium when he was at Oklahoma. That was the game.
Yeah.
That was the Frost fired Mickey interim game.
Ooh, the crowd was lit to start.
Nebraska was up 7-0. And then boom, the game changed. But I think Dylan Gabriel was talking about when Oklahoma had the ball and Nebraska was up 7-0. It was loud. It was it was loud in there. I mean, there was a different vibe that day of like, oh, geez, okay.
But there was some anger. I mean, I remember I had goosebumps.
Well,
It's great.
There was relief.
Gus Johnson doesn't remember that day, but that's a different story.
But once you win, it changes if it's a tough place to play. But players have come in here and at Big Ten Media Days and they'll go, it's pretty cool because you'll come into the stadium and it's so mammoth. Well, first of all, they'll say, you know, our hotel's downtown. We see all this red everywhere. I mean, everybody's wearing red, so that's pretty cool. And then your short bus trip from the Graduate to the locker room, everybody's wearing red. Then we walk in the stadium and it's tall and you look way up and you're like, wow, when does it ever end? And then as you're walking on the field, people are like, hey, good luck. They're not like, hey, good luck, F you. They're like, hey, good luck. Hey, play. We hope you stay healthy today. Not, yeah, I hope you stay healthy today. Wait till that second quarter when you've broken all the bones in your body.
Yeah.
It's a very comfortable place to play.
Nobody's sweeping the leg.
And even winning, it's still part of us that are like, man, we'll be nice. Instead of, I hate you guys. I mean, you're gonna stand by the area where Colorado comes on the field in week 2 and go, hey, Deion, love you. Hey, big Falcon fan, I got your 21 jersey.
Must be the money.
Yeah.
Have it on cassette.
So today it'll be sights and sounds debate. That's why we love college football.
That time of year.
But why? How did Michigan State get on that list?
Yeah, no kidding. Every time I watch a game there's a lot of empty bleachers, and this is even when they were good.
Yeah. They should have done.
Do they think George Perlis is still a coach?
And I know what they were doing because, you know, how the game is going to be a focus. What they should have done is you have 3 places to go in college football on your bucket list to go see a game. Not see the team. It doesn't matter who they're playing.
Just go watch college football.
Doesn't
game.
matter on a 6:30 on ESPN who LSU is playing in October. Could be Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
But it's on your list to go. Your 3 places in college football that you must go see a game before you don't have the opportunity to do that anymore.
That's one.
LSU and?
I would add Kyle Field.
Kyle Field is an experience because it just
there's no pun in this.
It just goes up and up and up, and there's 100,000 people.
Let's see. My third. I want to think this through. See, it sounds bad because I'm biased, but we were just back home a month ago, and I kept telling people, mind you, these are people that love football, love college football, and I told all of them, you have to see a game once in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll throw that in there. But I love going to games there. I'm very thankful that my life turned out that I married into a family where we go to several a year. And it's every time, even when, we went to the Wisconsin game a couple years ago, and this won't be confused for that Michigan game you talked about, but it still warms the cockles, as you say, when I walk in there, and I can't wait to be in there again this year.
Place that used to be on this list of I got to go see a game there that I've taken off the list and I could have avoided it was the Big House. A game in Ann Arbor was a huge letdown for me.
It's like a game in Austin used to be.
I thought I had to go see a game at the Big House. I was let down.
Husky Stadium was awesome too. A little shout out to them. Been to a game there and went on a day where the sun was out in October, which is rare.
All right, Brandon Vogel from counterread.com. He'll join us coming up next to wrap up this Wednesday edition of Mornings with Sharp and Handley and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Don't answer that. It's another roof gypsy ringing the doorbell. They are attempting to capitalize on the misfortune that Mother Nature has thrown your way. Make the right call to a trusted company that has faithfully served the Omaha area for over 35 years. The Rivalries at John Higgins Weather Guard.
For roofing, siding, and gutter repair, make the right call to John Higgins Weather Guard.
John Higgins Weather Guard, the home of the Rivalries. Make the right call.
If baseball and ice cream go together like fireworks in the 4th of July. I mean, on any given night during the summer, you're bound to run into a team of little leaguers getting ice cream after their game, win or lose. So before you head home after the game, head over to Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream and pick up your flavor. They serve more than 3,000 of them. Keep track of the daily specials on social media, celebrating more than 35 years. Ted and Wally's Ultra Premium Ice Cream. Benson, Old Market, and at tedandwallys.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-893-2288, 800-893-2288, 800-893-2288.
The Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. RAMP.com/sports.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, let's welcome in our good friend from Countery.com, Brandon Vogel. Good Wednesday morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I just came up with a Brandon Vogel stat, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you may be researching this after the discussion yesterday about Nebraska's lack of home field advantage. Would you like to guess, since 2019, so 1920, the COVID year, 21, 22, 23, so 5 years, do you know how many home football games in the month of November Nebraska has won since 2019?
Ooh. One? Is it one or is it zero? Those are my first two guesses.
It would be one, and that is the COVID year, that Penn State game in the middle of November. Yeah, since 2019, 5 years. And, Nebraska's probably going to be minimum 2 home games every November. And, one of them is going to be Iowa or Wisconsin. But 1 home win since 2019 in November. That's mind-boggling.
It is. I mean, when you looked last year, that one was easy to remember. You went 0-2, and I remember because Nebraska was 4-1 at home to
Yep.
that point. You got drubbed by Michigan, eventual national champ, so it is what it is. And you don't get one of those two at home against Maryland or Iowa to punch the bowl ticket. But even going 4-3, I think that's only happened twice since 2014. So I think in 2018 they had a winning record at home, or maybe not. Definitely 2023. 2023 was the second time it's happened in the past decade. Nebraska's had a winning record at home, and it's tough to get where you're going that way.
So what happened? Like what I know when Nebraska was on long winning streaks, they were really, really good. But even a little bit above 500 teams struggle at home. What do you think happened to any advantage Nebraska used to gain from playing at home?
It's a tough one. So I wrote a story about home field advantage in January. That was Action Network ranked Nebraska's home field advantage 120th going into the year. That's based on like their own model. You know, it's not just, they're not just picking. They used against the spread data, which is pretty interesting. Go back and read that, kind of read if anybody wants to, but it's kind of a tough chicken or egg thing, because I do think, when you're really good, it's easy to be really good at home. As Nebraska has gotten further removed from that era, Memorial Stadium a lot of times strikes me as a place that lacks confidence. I often feel it's on edge against particularly like conference opponents. Yeah, UTEP, you expect to show up, it'll be a party, and Nebraska will eventually take care of it. Although even that's become, a dicier proposition of late. That's always the feeling I get, particularly for those big games at Memorial Stadium, is a lot of times it doesn't feel like people are going in there saying, yeah, you know what, Ohio State, you might be top 5, and maybe we're flirting with 500 at Nebraska, but you got to beat us at home. Like, I don't ever feel that. And I think that's what makes home field advantage actually the advantage it is. So over the past decade, LSU, I think, as you'd expect, had the top home field advantage from Action Network. Number 2, Kansas State, which I thought was pretty interesting, when you look at that and kind of the similarities between Manhattan and Lincoln. It doesn't seem like too big a jump.
So if I say, show me signs that Nebraska football is turning around, we would go, they're beating teams that are very similar to them right now. They are then winning home games. And then what's the next thing in this conversation?
Winning home games, and then I think, depending on where Nebraska's at in kind of that hopefully upward trajectory, it's the games like Ohio State or like Michigan last year. Like, don't get beat 45-7 at home. Even if the gap between the teams was real, and that's the sign that maybe the home field advantage thing is turning around, where you're playing better than maybe your actual ceiling for a bit. You're playing better against the best teams because it's your home turf. I mean, that's what everybody assumes it should be. But the data or the video game developers at EA Sports point out that hasn't been what it should be at Nebraska of late.
Brandon Vogel from Counter Read joining us. Great. First of all, kudos for anybody that had the opportunity to get to know Mike Riley's wife, Dee, passed away over the weekend. Aaron Sorensen, who developed a relationship with Dee, wrote a fantastic piece that appeared on Counter Read earlier this week. I encourage everyone to read it. Aaron is very talented at writing stories like that. But you also then wrote something yesterday or 2 days ago, or actually yesterday, about running backs that I thought brought up a lot of key questions, that was very thought-provoking on what is Nebraska going to do with their running backs. So it's June 26th. I don't know that there's a clear-cut number one. I think we're over that bell cow, that 20 carry a game guy. Where at this point do you think the running back room at the University of Nebraska going into 2024 stands in relationship of equaling success for the rest of the team?
I mean, I think there's not a lot of knowns with that group. Ramir Johnson has been around a long time. He's only kind of been the guy in one season, but he's your most returning carries. I think I don't think there's just not many 20 carries a game backs out there in football, period. And, I think Rule at some point kind of broke it down as you figure you're looking for a 15 carry guy, a 12 carry guy, and then an 8 carry guy. So I kind of operated from the assumption of you want to be able to go 3 deep. Is there a number one there? Gabe Ervin was that guy at the start of last season. I think that might nudge him towards the top leader of the contenders among them. I think Emmett Johnson's year, 90 carries, which is a pretty good chunk, was a little bit undervalued. And I looked at some of the numbers behind that in that piece you mentioned. I think he's up there, kind of 1A, 1B with Gabe Ervin. Ramir Johnson, we talk about him as a pass catcher first, and I think the numbers kind of back that up with him. And then you've got Dowdell, who's kind of the real wild card. Strange. It's still strange that Oregon didn't redshirt him, given that they had 3 other backs who were really, really good. So I kind of approach this as, does Nebraska have the type of backs that it needs? And I think somewhere in that group, it does. It's just hard to kind of pencil it in for, okay, here's your 1, here's your 2, here's your 3. It's kind of a jumble still at this point.
Did Dowdell's stock drop?
From you mean through the spring or since Oregon?
Since Oregon, Nebraska gets a running back. And I think when we looked at more of his high school tape, we were like, okay, this guy could be a dude, now has an opportunity because there's not as many guys in front of him. And that was a January conversation. He's almost, because we're all now looking at the unknowns, as you alluded to at the running back room. He's not an afterthought, but he's not your first thought, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you think back to somebody like Marquise Stepp coming from the Pac-12, same league. I feel like people pinned more on him right away, and I think Dowdell was a better high school prospect, and it's tough to know what to take from his year at Oregon. I think has his stock dropped? I think it was strangely quiet around him during the spring. His name didn't come up a ton. We saw him have the big run in the spring game, but it was kind of it felt a little bit like a one-off. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it's dropped maybe a little bit. I kind of looked at him as, well, the talent's there. I think you can see that, not just from his recruiting ranking, but if you go back and watch some of the high school film and see a little bit at Oregon, that Oregon run game was really, really good though last year. And I noted this in the story, kind of looking at expected points added. Dowdell's is very good, better than any of Nebraska's backs averaged a year ago. I said it was the lowest amongst the 4 running backs that played at Oregon last year. So what do you make of that? I mean, so there's just a lot of gray area, I think with him. And Nebraska's in a spot where they've got enough guys there that maybe he doesn't have to be the high 4-star that everybody thought he was when he signed with Oregon right away.
In the waning minutes here, pick one that helps you gain an advantage. More on-field coaches or larger roster?
I'd probably go larger roster. Specifically, if we're talking about Nebraska, you got to have a plan to manage it. I think this staff does, but the kind of knock-on competition that Nebraska's walk-on program has always provided, and I think is continuing to provide, is the big piece of it for me and always has been. So I'll take the larger roster given the choice.
Man, what a conversation from yesterday about adding coaches, but we're talking about cutting down rosters. As always, I appreciate really good stuff by you guys this week. And I know that as we are gearing up 66 days away, I know you got a lot of things in the lab, and I'm looking forward to getting it. You make my morning every 6 a.m. when I get the notification that my latest counter read is in my inbox.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Talk to you next week.
That's Brandon Vogel from counterread.com. You can subscribe to the Substack. Yes, become a subscriber. Go to counterread.com. All right, that'll do it for the show. Nick will be back in tomorrow. We got the crossover coming up next.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
I think he's okay too.
That was a 4:45 text.
Yeah, they must have really got nailed with the storms. That's what I'm thinking.
Or physically, he got nailed by a storm. All right, thank you, Jimmy. Thanks everybody. Yeah, another day closer. NBA draft tonight. Baylor Shireman. How soon will he hear his name? We'll discuss tomorrow. Crossover's coming up next. For Jimmy, I'm Gary. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620